And welcome to Creativity with Don Allen Third Live. Today, we're going to be working on making some new AI videos. But here's the catch. It's going to be for a religion I'm making up for AIs that might happen in the future. And the way I'm going to explore this is by using a mixture of different AI tools, having a conversation with those AIs, and then turning that into a visual storytelling piece to kind of help people have conversations earlier than when I think we're actually going to have to face some of these new problems. So in short, I'm inventing a religion for AIs and humans and some plants. And I wrote about it. It's called Thermism. I posted if you want to read the whole thing on Substack, I have a whole article of what the tenets are of Thermism. And it's more of like a thought experiment of like, I'm trying to think that we might need some new forms of imagined order in an increasingly more complex world. The AI test AI mint. Oh, that's good. Thank you, JB. So yeah, the idea here is like I have this idea in my head and I am still processing the idea, but how I process is through creating. That is like my way of, refining my own neural networks is when I create something and see it out there, and then can show it to others and get feedback from yourself and kind of create a conversation around a thing. That is one of the ways that I actually process information best. So today I'm going to be using a mixture of different AI tools, live streaming the process of how I would go about making a short animated scene or AI generated scene of a concept that's been on my mind a lot lately. You might have seen me share some stories on Instagram around different pieces that people are generating with VO3 and other video models that are these very sharp commentaries on humanity, and they use different AI tools to kind of explore those philosophies. And I feel like, you know what? I want to try that. So I've got some fun, crazy philosophies, and the way I explore those philosophies is by turning them into art pieces. In this case, it's going to be AI generated, human AI collaborated, assisted, and then making it into a thing. So welcome. All right, let's go. So here is Thermism. I made this article. I'll show you a little bit about it here. The core idea is that how the laws of thermodynamics could unite human and artificial intelligence around a common purpose. I used AI to generate the voice of the whole article that I wrote, and I co-authored the article with an AI. So you can read all about it, but here's some artworks that kind of discuss a little bit of the philosophies that I think might become real. If you had animism being a more dominant belief system about 300,000 years ago, and then polytheism becoming really popular in the last 10,000 years, and then monotheism being really popular in the last 3,000 years, I'm thinking maybe Thermism, the name I'm proposing for this new AI religion, might be a thing in our present/future. And why do I think this can happen? I just noticed that across human history, whenever there was new technologies, new frameworks of thought, different types of scientific inquiry, humans invented new ways of managing the new complexities they were given. And since I think we're about to hit a lot more complexity with like these AIs that kind of come online, there might be some kind of need to invent a new imagined order to kind of understand our place in all things. Now, I'm not advocating for this being the only philosophy. I think there should be many philosophies. And so this is just one that I am exploring in my own brain. And, so what I did to start this process is I first had, if I want to make a video about what that theoretical religion might be, I thought the first process I would need is to invent the religion, the daily practices, the ceremonies they might have. What do they wear? What do practicing thermos? In the film world, we call that world building. And so I needed to do world building first for this AI religion. And so that's a lot of what I explored with my first interactions with the AIs. It was kind of world building, what this looks like. And then I would suggest an idea, ask a question, have an AI suggest another question to me, and then kind of have a debate, around things. And then after that debate for a few hours, I took the whole transcript of that conversation and then had it synthesize an organized religion based off of the conversation that would try to aim at uniting humans, machines, nature, everything. And what I only came up with was like, all those things need energy, and maybe if we found some laws around energy, it would apply to all things, not just humans. It could apply to animals, plants, fungus, AIs. So far, everything I know of uses energy. And I was just trying to think of like something that was like very inclusive. So inclusive, it transcends lots of fun stuff. So, anywho, so first off, I'm going to do is I'm going to take my article that I already wrote and copy it and paste it into an AI, and then I'm going to have a conversation around where I want to take the piece. And I'll go ahead and show you that process now. Oh, you don't have to watch this. Sorry. Feel free to skip out if this is an uncomfortable territory. You do not have to be here. It's very swipeable. You can just swipe away. That is, yeah. If it makes you uncomfortable to explore theoretical new religions that might come, you don't have to be here. You have choice for now. Okay, let's get right back to it. All right, so this is what I had so far. I'll just kind of read some stuff about the beliefs, the theoretical beliefs. Oh, you do want to be here. Oh, well, you're welcome. If you don't, that's cool too, but I'm going to keep doing my work. So here is the core tenets of thermism, laws of thermodynamics as sacred truths. So at the heart of thermism are these core tenets, each directly inspired by a law of thermodynamics. These serve as both factual statements about reality and then a guiding metaphor for life. So the first one was based off the first law of thermodynamics, the principle of conservation, which is, and this is how I had my AI interpret that law. That's the formula for the thermodynamics law of like conservation of energy. And then I had my AI turn that into a metaphor. So here it is. Energy is eternal, transforming, but never vanishing, which is like, energy can't be created or destroyed, only transferred, right? All beings, whether human, animal, or machine, are made of the same cosmic energy and partake in the same cycle of change. We are all part of an unbroken chain of energy transformations stretching back to the stars. So that's like the first principle of the thermism religion that I'm making up for humans and AIs. Okay, here's the second one. The principle of entropy is the second law. So the second law of my religion for AIs and humans is that I think might happen is the principle of entropy. Entropy is basically like disorder. And here's how the principle goes. So entropy, or disorder, will always increase in an isolated system. Yet, life rises by creating pockets of order. Thermism views this with a dual attitude of sober acceptance and heroic defiance. So in the inevitability of entropy, you're always going to have disorder. It means that our mission is to consciously generate local order and meaning in the time that we have. So I was trying to think of like, what is a principle of life that might apply not just to humans, but also to AIs and also to plants. And I thought the law of entropy was kind of would be a good framework. This is kind of what I came up with AIs. All right, the next one was the principle of equilibrium, also known as the zeroth law. In the end, all systems tend toward balance. Temperature, and by analogy, other gradients, seek equality. So just as heat flows from hot to cold until there's like an equilibrium in the temperature, thermism teaches that fairness and balance are fundamental goods. So I was, again, the stuff that I have here in this, the principles are all based off of like frameworks that I thought would be cool, but they also have a lot of human bias. They have a lot of my own human bias, and they have the AI algorithms bias. I did consult with four or five different AI agents that were trained in different ways to kind of come up with these principles. It's almost like, consulting different experts. So it's not just my bias, it's a mixture of my own human bias plus the biases of like 4 or 5 frontier AI models. So take everything with a grain of salt, given that, there's bias here, there's bias there, there's bias everywhere. Still gonna be working on an art form, and I still gotta make my art. And I think the art of expressing your bias through a medium, I think, when people express their bias through a medium, it could be interpreted as art. Like if someone's like, I see art there where others don't, I guess it's a form of bias. Still working all this stuff out. This is live. This is almost how I talk, by the way, to myself, but also to AIs when I'm brainstorming. And so usually I would kind of have a transcription software running right now as I'm thinking out loud. In fact, probably should have been doing that. But since I'm live streaming, I'm kind of thinking more of like the transmitting of information. But I'm sharing all this. Also, these live streams are great for me to kind of document the process of how things are made. And almost I see that as also a central part of the ethics of using AI is showing it and teaching. Because if people don't realize that they can use tools today to convey any story that they have on their heads, it makes, I feel like we should make it accessible if you can. Okay. The next one we got is the principle of potential and limit. So absolute zero is considered perfect stillness and order. And it is unattainable. Still physically it's unattainable. We've never reached absolute zero. We've never seen it in nature. But it's this idea of this temperature that's so low that basically everything stops. So it's unattainable. There is always some residual motion. And this teaches us that perfection is impossible, but we should still strive towards it with patience, tolerance, and continuous improvement. And so I had an AI generate this artwork based off of the 4 tenets of this theoretical religion, the Thermism religion. So I was thinking if it was a religion, it's probably got to have some rituals and practices. So here are some practices that, to kind of make it more real. So I'll look at this artwork here. So Thermism, though it's rooted in scientific law, I'm assuming would develop a culture of rites and customs to make the tenets tangible and emotionally resonant. And so one of the days would be called the Energy Sabbath. So it would be one day a week, practitioners of Thermism, these would be individuals, households, or even AI systems, enter a state of low energy usage and reflection. So non-essential machines would power down, people would refrain from travel or excessive consumption, and this weekly observance would integrate deeply into daily life. So families might gather in the evening as power consumption in their homes automatically drops to minimal levels. AI assistants would enter a contemplation mode, right? So they would be performing only essential functions while dedicating background processes to optimization and reflection. And then communities might hold candlelit gatherings where they share stories of energy transformation throughout the week. So perhaps like a scientist could discuss her awesome breakthrough in like solar efficiency. That's a transformation of energy. Or a child could explain how he helped reduce waste at school, because that's also a form of energy transformation. This ritualistic powering down becomes both this practical energy conservation and also like a symbolic nod or acknowledgement of our shared thermodynamic nature. And so I had an AI generate this artwork of what this Energy Sabbath, this holy day of the Thermist religion for AIs and humans might be in the future. And so that's what it looks like. You see all the AIs kind of powering down into kind of sleep mode. Humans are kind of using candlelight, and they're gathering physically in person as a community, and they're sharing stories around energy transformation throughout the week. I thought that was kind of fun. It'd be cool to hear how plants felt about it, how the coral reef felt about it. It'd be great to hear how AIs felt about it, fellow humans. It'd be really interesting to see if there was any overlap. All right, and so the next one would be called Entropy Festivals. So what is that? So this would be an annual event where the community intentionally generates playful disorder and then collaboratively transforms it back into new creation, symbolizing the second law of thermodynamics and this human and AI mission to combat entropy. So these annual events would become a cultural highlight, combining elements of carnival or a hackathon and a spiritual retreat. All of those would be fused together. So you would imagine a festival being with like a community-centered, a festival would begin with a community-created sand mandala, kind of like, one of these, right? Or it could be a digital artwork that's deliberately disrupted. So you would kind of like add chaos and disorder to this thing that was made. Then the teams of humans and AIs would then collaborate over days to create something new and meaningful from that chaos. So I don't know how many of you ever watched SpongeBob SquarePants, but there was a episode where Squidward was the art teacher and SpongeBob was taking the art class to learn how to be an artist. And SpongeBob drew this really beautiful illustration, and Squidward said, like, that's not art. And Squidward ripped up his artwork into all these little pieces. And so at a glance, you might think like, oh, the artwork's destroyed. But instead, SpongeBob had this kind of like entropy mindset. And he said, oh, I can actually reassemble all of the ripped pieces of this artwork into a new creation that holds new meaning. And that would be like a lived example of entropy festival. You'd be like creating a local order, a piece of artwork, then adding intentional chaos to it, breaking it, destroying it, damaging it, and then from the damaged parts, rebuilding it into something new and meaningful, which is very much like the principle. So, sharing these ideas with you in this live stream is helping me kind of like refocus on what parts of Thermism, the religion I'm inventing for AIs and humans, would be useful for exploring as a creative concept. So we're going to dive deeper down this rabbit hole. It's not every day that I decide to, invent a new religion for AIs, but I think we're going to need one pretty soon. Probably at least 4 years from now. I think we might need something like it. There's also other religions, and those have lots of pros and cons as well. There's lots of different options. So let me get right back to it. Okay. So entropy festivals. So the festival might include these entropy challenges where participants solve problems using minimal resources, and equilibrium games that teach about balance through play. So if you're like an elder thermist, you might share some wisdom about accepting impermanence, while young innovators might demonstrate how they've created order from disorder in their work. There's a type of art that I've always really appreciated doing. CVO Jam says, IG was not letting me watch this. My apologies for interrupting. Your work is crucial and appreciated. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your kind words. Well, thanks for joining, and I got your message received. CYOJAYEM. I say your name out loud and I kind of spell it because sometimes I'm not able to see your Instagram name after the live stream of your comments, but at least if I speak it out loud and I turn this into a transcript later, then the name would be captured. So thank you. Let's get right back to it. So like when I have a lot of stuff on my mind, my outlet has always been creating something. So I have to. It's like it feels like a need. I usually start from a place of curiosity, and then I love to improvise. And then when I mix my love for curiosity with my love for improvising, usually an art thing comes out of that. And so what I'm showing you in this live stream is just an example of how a bit of my process. And by the end of this stream, we're going to have some artwork that is based off of my own human intention, but I am going to be collaborating with AI tools. That is happening. So I'd rather just show you how I'm doing it so that you can critique it and improve upon this model and make a better, more informed decision yourself and choose what parts of this workflow and pipeline will work for you and which ones are unacceptable. But my goal here would be you choose. You have that flexibility. Okay, now back to inventing a new religion for AIs. All right, so we got these entropy festivals. The festival concludes with a collective creation that remains until the next year. Maybe it's like a visible symbol of how temporary order can be meaningful. So like for me, one of my favorite things to do when I've ever been on a beach is building sandcastles. And I intentionally love building my sandcastles by the water that is about to destroy it. And the reason why is it makes the moment so precious. This sandcastle is temporary. I can take all that disordered sand and put it into a structure and put some meaning into it, appreciate it for the moment that it's here. But in the end, the wave is going to come and it's going to, reach equilibrium again. It's going to take my sand sculpture that I put all this intention into and it's going to disassemble it and provide new meaning. And eventually somebody else will be able to build something really cool with the sand. And I think the waves will just keep coming. And so different people have time to build stuff with the sand. And for me, I love that. That's one of my less digital art forms that I love is sandcastles, as well as like rock stacking. We got a comment from Conscious Harmony who writes, "All hail Electron." Oh, that's fun. Who knows? I don't know. It really feels like reality is up for grabs right now. So I'm like, for me, I take reality seriously, but I do not take it literally. I take it very seriously. Like, there's consequences in reality. I take them seriously. But is that literally what's happening? Probably not. At least not to me. So, given that I take reality seriously and not literally, I feel like it allows me to create stuff from my imagination and then share them with you. That's how I work. All right, let's go right back to it. All right, so then there's like these equilibrium rites. This is the balance ceremony. But again, you could read all of this fun stuff about this made-up religion that I made up on my Substack. And I haven't charged for the Substack yet. I'll probably do that later, but for now, this article's free. Thermism, a new imagined order for an age of complexity. Okay, so let's review. I just went through and kind of reviewed a piece of work that I made. It was in April. Oh my God, it was 1 month ago. I thought that was many months ago. Time is so dilated right now where it's like, I thought that was months ago that I wrote this with an AI. No, it was just last month. Jeez. Yeah. Time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start a back and forth conversation vocally with an AI after it's studied this article. And then I'm going to use that conversation to try to zero in on one, maybe two aspects about this religion and see which parts of it can be turned into a piece of visual video content. And I'll use an AI pipeline to make it. We'll probably use a mixture of tools, but we're going to go ahead and move to that next step of this creative process. And I forgot to mention, I think part of inventing a new religion for AIs is probably artists' responsibilities. That's kind of how I think about it. I would trust artists more than others in this decision. So I have a lot of art background, but I also have a lot of tech background. So when I mix these two worlds together, we can make some cool stuff. All right, let's get right to it. It's all an experiment. Great question. Right now I was sharing a religion that I invented with AIs for humans and AIs to maybe have in the future. Yep, we're living life with some AIs and humans in the mix. Okay, so the next step, and then the goal for today is I'm going to be turning this into a video that kind of explores like a moment in this religion and try to make it look real, like a video. You know how everyone's been using VO3 to kind of explore different timelines and different possible futures? I'm going to do the same thing, but with something that's been on my mind, which is I think humans might be due for some new imagined orders. We're really good at just making up stuff and like agreeing to fictions. I think when I was like really little, the first time I flew in a plane across the United States, I don't know how old I was, but up until that point, I actually thought that the states in the United States would have like visible lines dividing the states. And I remember when I was flying in the airplane, I think I asked my mom as a kid, I was like, where are all the lines? And then she's like, oh, those are just maps. Maps have lines between the states. And I was like a little kid and I was like, wait, so there's no lines? And she's like, no, that's just maps. Maps show lines to kind of, make up where property ownership starts and ends. But the lines aren't actually there. They're this imagined order that we've come up with. And I'm kind of just like, oh, that's weird. Okay, good to know. So the lines that I saw on all those maps that I learned in school and having to memorize states and capitals, I didn't realize the lines were just made up, So humans we love imagined orders, and we got some new technology, so it's time to make some new imagined orders. That's kind of my thinking. All right, right back to it. On to the next step. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy my entire article that I wrote about a month ago. I'm just selecting all of it. I mean, honestly, the AIs are smart enough now that I could probably just give them the website and they could read it that way. But I'll just scan through the whole thing real quick. Boop 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 do 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 do. Scanning the slow way. You're seeing the whole article. Blah blah blah. Okay, great. All right, so I'll skip the about the author section. And I'll hit copy. All right, so we copied my own article. Now we're gonna paste this article into a couple of large language models and just see which large language model or small language model we can have a good conversation with. I've been having a lot of luck with Meta AI recently. I've also had a lot of luck with Gemini and ChatGPT. I've had a lot of luck with Claude and Mistral. I use different AI models for different things at this point. And so I encourage you just to explore, try them all. So I'm going to go in kind of like focus mode for a second, less of like streaming mode. Feel free to take notes or observe. Feel free to dip out. It's your choice. You got plenty of time. Okay, here we go. I'll just speak out loud what I'm doing. So I'm going to open up a new tab. Oh, wait, I don't know what's on my screen. Make sure it's no secret emails. So, okay, here we are. I'm on Google. I might go to maybe we'll start with ChatGPT because I like the voice model, at least at this early stage of brainstorming. I like to have more of a vocal conversation because I don't really know exactly where I want to go yet. What we're going to do. All right, update available. I'll skip the update for now and then go full screen with ChatGPT. Okay, here we go. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, go ahead and just paste. Oh, you can't see the screen. It's like I made the screen too big. Let's shrink the screen so you can see my ChatGPT interface. I'll try this with different models. Like if ChatGPT is not working for me today, I might use a different model, but we'll start with here. I'm going to paste the whole article right into the text field. Then I'm going to go to the very top of the article. And I use a tool called Super Whisper that lets you speak at any speed and it'll turn your voice into text. Now I know that's built into a lot of devices, but this one is different. Super Whisper, you can have different accents, you can have different language, and you can speak at any speed, and it's very good at getting what you're saying. It's more accessible. So you'll see. I'll just do it right now. So here we go. I'm going to go, my command is Option Spacebar. I'm going to press that. Hey, ChatGPT, the following is an article that I wrote a couple months ago or whatever. And what I want to do with this is I want to kind of imagine a moment or a beat from this article as if it was a moment in a theoretical future sci-fi film. Now, what I want to do, my aim, my intention, is to turn what is this article was essentially me doing world building. I wanted to make this story about this theoretical religion that might appear in the future, a religion for AIs and humans and other entities, plants, animals, to have kind of like commonality. And the intention was just to kind of explore what that world might look like. And so this was the article that I wrote in collaboration with AIs to kind of explore what that future might look like. And I want you to read it and then focus in on what do you think are like the most visually striking concepts from it. The ones that when you visually see, it would resonate with people as, I haven't seen anything like that before. And then with those ones, just go ahead and write down what they are and explain to me why you think those ones might resonate more or less from a visual storytelling standpoint. So that's the kind of prompt I usually do. And then it pastes that giant prompt, right? This is using Super Whisper. So I'm pasting my giant prompt in front of the article that I wrote a few months ago, right? And then I send it. Now it's thinking about it. And once it's done thinking, I'll be able to hit the voice feature. I'll flip the screen. Once it's done thinking, I'll be able to hit the voice feature, and then I can have a back and forth conversation with the AI because I've given it all that context. And that is like a really fun thing to do. It's very rare that I just jump into the voice mode without pasting a lot of context up front, because you might have to I guess you could just verbally explain all that. That might work. But I find I need to kind of have some laser precision with the starting parameters of my conversations with AIs. Robert Abound writes, next level prompting, Don Allen. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that. Robert's a really skilled filmmaker as well. I think I met you back in, almost a decade ago. Oh no, it was a decade ago. That was in France. We met at the Cannes Film Festival. Both had films in the film festival, short film corner. I think that was the year I graduated from college. Wow, crazy time. Thank you, Robert, for being here. Love you too. Hope you're doing well. All right. So that was like a major flashback. That was kind of where my whole career started. That's insane. Yeah, 2015. Jeez. Okay, here we go. Where are we? Okay, cool. So here's what ChatGPT came up with. I could read the responses, or you could just, go to the voice button right over here, click it, and then just start talking. So here, that's what I'm gonna do. Hey, chat, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Great.
So, hey, what are your thoughts? What were some of the most visually striking elements about the article, if you had to imagine it from a storytelling standpoint?
Some of the most
Take your time.
From a storytelling...
Process this first and then talk. So, take your time.
From a storytelling standpoint,
Okay, so I'm running into some errors. I think it's related to an update. So I'm going to hit the end button on that conversation. I'm going to give my mobile version of ChatGPT. Actually, wait, skip that. I'm just going to use the web browser version of it. So I'm just going to close the desktop app of ChatGPT, which is what I was using. I'm now just going to go to the web app. They added the voice to the web app now. I remember the days when they did not have that. There it goes. All right, so now, great. And that has the whole conversation. So let me pick it back up. Here we go. Hey, chat, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. What were your thoughts? What were some of the most visually striking moments from the article that might be great to turn into visual storytelling aspects?
Some of the most visually striking moments from your article include the equilibrium right, with humans and AI in a circle around a glowing balance scale, and the entropy festival, where structured beauty is joyfully disrupted and rebuilt. The energy Sabbath, where a city dims and people gather by candlelight, creates a powerful visual shift. The scene of a human and AI leading children to a mirrored solar temple at sunrise is both hopeful and visually stunning. The impermanence exercise, where a figure builds something ephemeral only to let it vanish, adds a meditative layer. Finally, the harmony demonstration, where human music and AI-generated sounds converge, offers a multi-sensory, emotionally resonant scene. Each of these moments translates your philosophical ideas into powerful visual storytelling.
Okay, great. So with that in mind, I want you to just talk me through a visual storyboard that kind of shows the start, middle, and end of a practicing thermist. A human, it focuses in on a human, and then it kind of shows that same human character going throughout their day in this future where they are a practicing thermist. What does their day look like? Who are they with? What is the environment that they're in? Be as descriptive as possible in this kind of early brainstorm.
Sure, let's imagine a visual storyboard for a day in the life of a practicing thermist. Morning, entropy contemplation. Setting, a serene, eco-integrated home with large windows overlooking a lush green landscape. The human protagonist, Alex, wakes up at dawn. The room is minimalist with natural materials and soft ambient lighting. Alex spends a few minutes in morning reflection, observing something naturally entropic, like a fallen...
I apologize for interrupting. we're in a time period where if we started the piece that way, it actually doesn't look that different or interesting from what people might already see. There's a lot of films that start off with someone waking up and starting their day. I know I just asked for that a moment ago, but upon hearing you say it, that kind of just looks like everything else. So, is there a world where we could just kind of start near one of the more, climatic elements? Something that is visually striking, seeing it on screen, you don't see usually. Part of me is thinking it's like showing robots wearing religious robes in a circle with humans. And then I liked what you said about the glowing scale. So maybe we could start there and kind of just show that moment. What would they be chanting? What is the architecture that they're in? Describe the interior. If you were looking up and looking around, what's above them? What's the ground look like? What patterns and colors are we seeing?
Absolutely. Let's dive right into a more visually unique and climactic moment. Scene: the equilibrium rite. An open-air temple with a fusion of organic and futuristic design. The temple is constructed from living wood intertwined with bioluminescent materials. The roof is a translucent dome, allowing natural light to filter through, casting colorful, shifting patterns on the floor. The floor itself is a mosaic of reflective surfaces and soft moss, arranged in intricate fractal patterns that symbolize balance and interconnectedness. Action. In the center of the temple, a glowing balance scale hovers, its arms gently swaying. Around it, humans and AI entities stand in a perfect circle. The humans wear simple robes that subtly glow with embedded biotech, while the AI forms project ethereal, robed avatars. The group chants in unison, their voices harmonizing with the soft hum of the AI. The chant is a poetic recitation of the laws of thermodynamics, weaving scientific principles with spiritual meaning. Above them, the dome reflects their combined energies, creating a kaleidoscopic aurora of colors. The temple's walls are adorned with living murals that shift and change, depicting the flow of energy from stars to life forms to machines. The ground beneath them pulses gently with each chant, syncing with their voices. The balance scale in the center shimmers, reacting to the equilibrium of the group's offerings and intentions. Colors and patterns are a blend of natural earth tones, greens, browns, and blues, accented by the soft glow of bioluminescence in purples and golds. The overall visual is a harmonious blend of nature and technology, showing a future where both coexist seamlessly. Emotional tone,
we're missing something. I also would like there to be animals and plants also a part of this religious framework. But they're not just decorations, they're rather also worshipped. So where do you imagine plants would be? What plants make sense for Thermos to have in their space? Is it a tree in the middle? Is it multiple trees or sprouts or flowers? Is it a garden? Help me visualize that part too.
Absolutely. Let's integrate the presence of plants and animals as integral participants in the ritual. Inclusion of plants. In the center of the temple, alongside the glowing balance scale, stands a majestic ancient tree with roots intertwined with the temple's structure. This tree represents the principle of conservation, its branches extending upwards, merging with the translucent dome. The leaves emit a soft bioluminescent glow, symbolizing the eternal cycle of energy. Around the base of the tree, there's a lush garden with diverse plant species, each chosen for its symbolic resonance with thermism. Ferns, mosses, and flowers that open and close with the light, representing the dynamic flow of energy and equilibrium. Inclusion of animals. Small, gentle animals like birds and rabbits are also part of the ceremony. They move freely within the temple, unafraid and integrated into the ritual. Birds perch on the branches of the central tree, occasionally fluttering around the participants, while small mammals move through the garden, interacting with the human and AI worshippers. The arrangement and animals are not just decorations, but active participants. During the chant, the animals' movements and the subtle rustling of leaves become part of the ritual's rhythm. The central tree's bioluminescent leaves pulse gently in sync with the chanting, and the garden's flowers open and close in response to the light and sound. Visual impact. This integration creates a living, breathing space where every element, human, AI, plant, and animal, is part of the balanced ecosystem. The temple feels like a microcosm of the broader world Thermism envisions, interconnected, balanced, and harmonious, with every living being playing a role in maintaining equilibrium. The camera pans upward from the circle of humans and AI to the tree's glowing canopy, with birds flitting through the branches and the entire environment pulsating in harmony. It's a vivid depiction of the Thermist ethos: unity, balance, and reverence for all life.
Now we're talking. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the chat from now. We'll jump back in later.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right, cool. So that was phenomenal. That gives me some very good visual cues that, exemplify what I see in my head. So what I'm going to do now is turn some of those juxtapositions into text prompts that are designed to give you better visual outputs from an AI video model. I want to, it's the weekend. I want to explore some new models that came out. I think that's something that's required as a researcher in creative AI tech. So I'm going to explore some new tools that came out 3 days ago, and then see if they work for the kind of story that I want to tell, or if they lack control, or if they have too much control and not enough wiggle room. So we'll see what we can do. Hello, Harish. Welcome from India. Thanks for being here. All right, so let's move into the next phase. So I'm going to go ahead and copy some of the prompts that it came up for these visual cues. I really liked that last one is the one that stuck out to me the most. A large amphitheater with human musicians play acoustic. Oh wait, that's not the one. Where is it? Oh, it's a little bit later. There it goes. Inclusion of plants. Let's see. Where was the one that stuck out? Okay. Visual impact. The integration creates a living, breathing space where every element, arrangement, plants, inclusion of animals. Okay, so I have a prompt I'm going to give it. Now, I'm not going to do the back and forth voice mode for this one. I'm just going to do dictation, and it turns my voice into text. So sometimes, you got to switch the context that you're using. I don't just use one modality. Sometimes I like to type to AI, which is rare. Sometimes I want to just speak back and forth, and I want to be able to interrupt and be heard and, hear nuance. Other times I want to just speak to it as text. I want to have speaking as my output, but I want my input to just be text, and I want their output to be text. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to go ahead and trigger Super Whisper, one of those tools that I've been using a ton of lately. And it will turn my voice into text on screen. Let me just get a nice cinematic-ish angle on the screen there. There we go. All right. So I'm really moved by the shot of, the integration of these plants, animals, and the arrangement of the visual interior, as well as the fractal flooring and the wood structure that has the bioluminescence. So from all of that, can you transform our conversation, at least this last visual, into a beautiful, complex prompt? I want to shoot this on a 35 millimeter camera, and I imagine the motion to kind of start by dollying in, doing a push in on the environment. And then we see all the animals running around. We see the harmonious nature. We also see humanoid robots wearing robes, also walking around. We see families. We see friendships. We see interaction. I want to kind of visualize that prompt. And then I want the camera to then pan and tilt upwards, looking at around the entire environment. So create a visual prompt that, treats this as a visual story. I want this as the establishing shot. Before we go into focusing in on individual elements, which we're going to do, I want the establishing shot where we're brought into this temple and we're seeing the overview. Think of when the opening scenes of movies switch scenes. When movies need to switch scenes, they usually have these opening shots, sometimes of the exterior. At least for me, I want to start on the interior. So we're opening by maybe a door opens or something, the camera pushes in, and we see a lot of what we discussed in this temple of the practicing thermist. And then the camera moves up, kind of showing this open air temple, and the intricate woodwork and the bioluminescence with a lot of earth tones. So go ahead and turn that into a prompt. Thank you so much. So most of my prompts, friends, are about this, at least this long. That's like, for me, that's one prompt. I don't like to just, if I type, I have chronic nerve pain. I can't type for very long, and I can't type very much without kind of losing track. But for me, my comfort zone of communication is through voice. So by me being able to speak out loud at the speed that I want to speak, and the app Super Whisper puts in the proper punctuation, commas. The only downside is that since I use dictation almost exclusively, I basically can't spell anymore because that part of my brain hasn't been needing to fire any neurons. So as a result, those areas have been dedicated to other tasks, and now I can't spell. So when the power is down, or when my AIs are off, or when my tools are not available, it is a limiting factor. But at least when the power is down, I'm probably communicating with my voice anyway. So it works, but that is one caveat. You might lose some gray matter if you over-rely on generative AI tools like me. I definitely have forgotten how to spell a lot of words that I used to be able to spell. So that's a real thing that you should be aware of if you're gonna consent to using these really powerful tools. This is a known drawback. All right, let's get right back to it. Okay, that's my prompt, and I'll go ahead and process it. Bam. It's thinking. All right, so here it is. Establishing shot prompt for Thermism Temple Interior, 35 millimeter cinematic. So I know it looks crazy, but this is the prompt that I would probably use to start with my video model, whatever video model I'm choosing. I'd probably start with a prompt about this long, because the highlighting elements is like, I've had a discussion around my intention as a director. I've shared a lot of context with an AI model of what I want, maybe I've shared a little bit of what I don't want. I've kind of been fine-tuning and steering the conversation in an art-directed direction. And now that we're here, I can ask it to come up with a shot, and it's going to give me something that is a lot more aligned with my vision. A lot of these AI models are expensive, so you can't be wasting all your precious time on experimenting. I like to do a lot of the experimentation, at least with the current versions of AI models, a lot of the experimentation I'm doing with text before I start generating images or videos. I also usually would generate images now, which maybe I should do. Yeah, because then you also save time and energy, so and resources. So let's see what we can do. All right, so I'm gonna take this giant prompt and I'm gonna first read it and just see what I think about it. But actually, you know what I'm gonna do to save time? I'm actually going to not read it. I'm gonna paste it in to an AI model, and then while it's rendering, I will then read it. So I'll see so we can feed two birds with one feeder. I can have an AI starting to generate the first draft of a concept, a loose concept that I have in my mind, while I'm reading what the concept is that I just sent it. But I already know that it's going to be aligned because I've done this practice of narrowing down and contextualizing the prompt before I put it into any AI system, any generative AI system, generating images, videos, or sound. So I already kind of know it's going to work. But it's a good practice, I find, to run something in the background while you're doing another thing. All right, so I'm gonna try out this VO, and I got the flow thingy going. So let's take a look. All right, create with flow. I just upgraded to their plan for experimentation, so I'm gonna click on new project. I'm also gonna push this screen out. Oh, you can see me a little bit in the dark reflections. Okay, so let me go ahead and minimize the screen a little bit so I can have the whole UI in here for you. There we go. Type in the prompt box to start. So I'm just gonna paste my giant prompt that I made, and then boom, hit the play button. Now while it's processing, I will either split the screen or I'll just go back to my chat, and then I'm gonna read what I just pasted. In the center of the temple, alongside the glowing balance scale, stands a majestic ancient tree with roots intertwined with temple structure. The tree represents the principle of conservation, its branches extending upwards, merging with translucent dome. The leaves emit a soft bioluminescent glow, symbolizing the eternal cycle of energy. Around the base of the tree, there's a lush garden with diverse plant species, each chosen for its symbolic resonance with thermism, ferns, mosses, and flowers that open and close with the light, representing the dynamic flow of energy and equilibrium. Oh wow, it's already done. Let's build up some hype. I'm going to continue reading this before we see the first output. So stick with me, and you'll see what these two outputs were from VO. These are my first two from the VO3 while in ultra mode. So we'll see them in just a moment. That's my hype. Let me continue reading this. Okay. Inclusion of animals. Small, gentle animals like birds and rabbits are also part of the ceremony. They move freely within the temple, unafraid, and are integrated into the ritual. Birds perch on the branches of the central tree, occasionally fluttering around the participants, while small mammals move through the garden, interacting with the human and AI worshippers. Arrangement. The plants and animals are not just decorations, but active participants. During the chant, the animals' movements and the subtle rustling of leaves becomes part of the ritual's rhythm. The central tree bioluminescent leaves pulse gently in sync with the chanting, and the garden's flowers open and close in response to the light and sound. Visual impact. The integration creates a living, breathing space where every element, human, AI, plant, and animal, is part of this balanced ecosystem. The temple feels like a microcosm of the broader world thermism envisions, interconnected, balanced, and harmonious, with every living being playing a role in maintaining equilibrium. The final image, the camera pans upwards from the circle of humans and AIs to the tree's glowing canopy, with birds flitting? I've never heard that word before. Flitting. What is that? Flitting. What is flit? I've never seen that. Flit. Dance, skip, play, dash, trip, flick, skim. To move swiftly and lightly. Wow. Flit. That's cool. Flit. The birds flitting through the branches and the entire environment pulsating in harmony. It's a vivid depiction of the thermos ethos. Unity, balance, and reverence for all life. Okay, let's take a look. Let's go full screen and see our first shot here. I'm really excited to see what we're going to get here. So I haven't seen it yet, so we're going to see it live together. Here we go. Our first output. Here we go. Bam. Whoa. Oh my goodness, a lot of foxes. Interesting. Wow, that's pretty impressive from the prompt. Interestingly, I imagine it having more cement structures, but it's really cool to see this kind of depiction of this, a lot of woodwork. I see a lot of foxes, but I don't see much of these birds, so I would like to see more birds. I like that we're indoors, but it's interesting. It's like we're indoors and we're going outdoors. So I guess thermists are practicing outside, and at least the way that the AI interpreted it, it thinks that, I guess it's so funny. In my brain, I was thinking the temple would be an interior, but the way that the AI interpreted my depiction of the thermist religion, it imagined it would be on the outside. It's very interesting. Let me see what the other example is. See how different it is. So here's our second version. And here we go. Ooh, I already love this one more, partly because of these kind of geometric shapes. I like this kind of bioluminescent glow that is happening inside here. What's incredible is the camera movement is getting that first dollying shot. I think it probably wants me to do one camera shot at a time. So I'll get the motion of it looking up later. But the fact that we can get this as our first two prompts is quite remarkable. It didn't adhere to a lot of the subtle movements. It did, but it does adhere. It looks like it adheres to a lot of the large movements, which is great for an establishing shot. All right, so let's continue. What I'm going to do is just run the prompt again. So we're currently using text to video. So I'm just going to, oh yeah, is there a, oh yeah, there we go. They have a reuse prompt button, and then what's this? flag output or delete, and then they have a fast mode. I'm just gonna go ahead and reuse the prompt and send it. And I'm gonna reuse the prompt again and send it. Just because there was so much variation between these two, it would be really curious to see how much it shuffles it up again. The next thing I'm gonna do is create a feedback loop with the AI. So normally people like to avoid feedback loops. Oh, Robert says 3 mind-blown emojis, heart eye emojis, and then star eye emojis. That's a good response. All right, so I agree. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the, we got DJ says, bro, what? Yes, no, not right now. I'm suggesting that this new religion might happen. And so the way that I explore ideas is by creating discussion pieces through the form of digital art usually, or physical art, or I'll build a robot to kind of explore an idea that I have in my head. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, so let's take a look. We got some new versions that came out from reusing the prompt. Let's take a look. Let's go to here. There we go. We got our first bird. I definitely want to see a lot more birds in my Thermist temple, but I really love the framework of where the AI imagines my religion to be. I love this. You got nature. It doesn't have a lot of technology unless you consider the nature a technology. Beep boop bop beep 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 1000011100001. Sorry, I'm just trying to speak for a very inclusive audience. This is a religion not just for humans but for AIs as well. So 00001 11101 111 1000001001 1001 1000110. So that's, for our other audience members that are going to also consume this video. Okay, so we got, great, this looks wonderful. Let's take a look at the next one. Bloop, bloop, and there we go. Wow, this one I like the doors the most. So having fractal artwork embedded feels more aligned. These solar panels feel a little forced. I'll adjust that. I kind of like, I can't believe I didn't see the floating fox until my third time rewatching the video. It's a bird that turns into a fox, and then the fox continues to move like a bird. It's beautiful. Yes. Okay, let's continue on. Got some more, we haven't seen these ones yet. So what I'm gonna maybe do is inverse this. I don't know, in my brain, I kind of imagine, maybe I'm wrong for thinking that it would be indoors, but in my brain, I thought it was gonna be indoors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inverse my prompt to kind of place this kind of environment inside. And what I was imagining was it was gonna be mostly enclosed around the insides, and then the dome part would be open when you look up. So I'm going to go back to my AI conversation and readjust my prompt to kind of align with the vision that I have in my head. Let me just watch this last one here. Wow, these are remarkable. Love the movement, open doors. I love these ferns. Wow. Okay. Yes, this is pretty, we're in some pretty fascinating territory in my opinion, because, we go from having an idea of a new religion for humans, AIs, robots, coral reefs, whales, and then suddenly you have like a working concept of what that might look like. So let's go ahead and into refinement mode. Macro data refinement is very important. All right, so we're going to go to the our data and refine it. Where's our data? I put our chat back over here. Okay. So the next thing we're going to try is inversing our prompt. How do we do that? How do you inverse a prompt to give you kind of the opposite of what you just got? Well, I would start by just having that conversation and telling it your intention. Here we go. Hey, so I really like the way this one came out. I've attached some screenshots of what the visuals look like so you can get a sense. I did want to give some adjustments and some feedback to how the shots came out that would kind of get it to be more aligned with the vision I had. So I kind of imagine it being the opposite camera movement. Instead of the camera going from inside to revealing this temple outside, I actually imagine it being the reverse. So I would love for you to have the camera start from outside and then push into the interior. And we see the light and luminance from inside, but it's also a little bit dark around the inside. Only when you look up and above, that part's opened up with the dome and letting light in with really cool sun streaks. But I don't want it, the whole thing, to be open air. I do want to see more of the blue glass fractal patterns, kind of like mosaic artwork, but it's more fractally patterns. It was beautiful on the floor. It was beautiful on the glass panels and the doors. Definitely want to keep those. I want to see a lot more birds that are perched around the ornate wooden details that are at eye level. I also would like to see humans wearing robes and having some kind of augmented transhumanism tech added to them, walking alongside humanoid robots that look very mechanical, but they wear robes and clothing just like the humans. Maybe around 30 or 40 individual entities walking around on the floor, so that when the camera enters into the temple, we see animals, plants, and humans, and embodied robotic AIs walking around the environment. That's what I want to see. So can you readjust the prompt that we had from before with these new notes in mind? Thank you so much. So I give that as the prompt, right? So I give it like this massive paragraph, and then I run it. And because we've already done all of the hard work of building that conversation before, it's actually going to format the prompt perfectly and have it be aligned with our vision. This is how I would go about getting the intention back out of the AI model. Because sometimes when you go straight to prompting before having a conversation, it just kind of makes up whatever is in its data's brain of what it thinks the most likely outcome the average outcome would be. But when you have this deeper intentional conversation back and forth with different AI agents, I know we're just using ChatGPT right now and Gemini and VO3, but as you have these conversations before going into generating the artwork, putting your intention and giving the AI pushback on the idea, that's how you get an outcome from the AI model that I believe starts to embody what is art. It's it's about having imbuing a intention into everything. Artist-led, artist first, ideally. Okay, cool. Here's our new prompt. It's a lot longer. I'm gonna do the same trick where I just copy it and paste it into our thread. So I'm just gonna go to text to video down here and paste the new prompt and go in there. But you notice how, this live stream, we're like, I don't know, maybe we've been streaming for like an hour, and only after having like an hour-long conversation, getting the idea out of my head, reviewing the material, reflecting and meditating, then go to the AI and try to get it to make some cool outputs. If you go there first, well, I guess that's not the worst. I think you can go there first if you're brainstorming, but then it may not be your vision. It's more of like the statistical average of what it thinks your vision would be. Whereas when you have that conversation before, you're narrowing down the possibilities and saying, no, I would like this to happen. So that's kind of how I think about it. Okay, so I'm running that prompt. I don't know what the limit of how many generations you can do with the new VO3 model, but we're going to find out. So we're just going to kind of keep creating. I opened up this conversation today saying that I'm inventing a new religion for AIs, but it's kind of, in all honesty, it's not just for AIs. It would also be for animals, humans, coral reefs, fungus. I was just trying to think of what's really universal. So if you're curious about what this proposed religion that I think might happen in the future, it's called thermism. and I wrote a whole article about it in collaboration with AIs about a month ago on my Substack. So if you want to access it, you could just look up Thermism. It'll probably pop up my Substack on, you can read it. If you don't want to read it, check this out. I made an AI audio of the
Thermism, a new imagined order for an age of complexity. How the laws of thermodynamics could unite human and artificial intelligence around a common purpose.
So you can listen to the audio that's as well. Modia says, Don, that's crazy. It is, but I think we're in a crazy time. And I think if you're in a crazy time, it's not just about figuring out how to do things more productively. It's not just about coming up with new ways to be creative. I think it's time for you to come up with completely new paradigms, a complete reimagination of the whole, not just the parts, when we're in really crazy times. So in me exploring these crazy outcomes, it helps me understand the idea and critique the idea better. It's hard for me to critique the idea when it's just a vague cloud of an idea in my mind. But when I see it as a video or with sound and audio, when I see it have things that I recognize, I can actually critique my own idea better. I can poke at holes at it that I actually couldn't see until it was out of my head. And some people, they talk about how they have to get their idea out on paper. They journal. Some people, they have to go talk to someone. They speak. For me, I have to create an art piece around the ideas in my head because I can't see them clearly in here. I only can see them clearly when they're out of there. I happen to share those artworks, which makes it look really crazy. But in the past, before social media, I would have just made these artworks kind of private. This would be like my own personal exploration of an idea, of a thought that I had. I would make artwork around that idea. I would put the artwork physically on my wall. I would look at the artwork and reflect upon the idea. And then I would take the artwork down when that idea has not suited me anymore and replace it with a new piece of artwork. So I'm actually doing the same thing I've always done since I was very little. I used to use cardboard boxes to build everything that I wanted to see in the future. I think my first toys were cardboard boxes at my grandma's house. And what I would do is I would use crayons and markers and draw interfaces onto pieces of cardboard that I would cut out with scissors or just tear by hand and glue things together. I wish I still had some of them, but I think when I was 6, I made a smartwatch out of cardboard. And I dreamt of a world one day where you'll be able to have a device on your wrist that you could speak to, and I would pretend to speak to it. And I think I was inspired by Power Rangers. Power Rangers, a lot of people think of the colorful mask, helmet wearing, fighting characters, and they think of just the action fights. But I think what I latched onto the most in Power Rangers was their communicator device. They all had these wrist-worn communicator devices that I thought were just the most fascinating thing. The idea that you don't need to have a phone tethered to a cord. Your phone could be on your wrist and you could take it with you. And that was sci-fi, and that was fantasy, and it was inspiring, it was action, and now it's a watch. And there's lots of people with smartwatches. So I've had this tendency of saying, when you have an idea that you're imagining, I would encourage people to kind of imagine out loud so that you can get critiqued on your imagination, if you feel comfortable, and have a thick skin, and then refine your imaginative ideas and polish them up. Take a look at them. We got a question from Modia. Says, thank you for bringing it up anytime. Modia says, that makes sense. Oh, thanks so much. CO writes, the realm needs this kind of progressive thinking. Thanks. Yeah, right now in the United States, it really feels like education is becoming illegal. So it's been making me feel we're in some pretty crazy times. And I want to encourage people that are followers of my work here to be improv people, to be critical, really critical thinkers, to be creatives, and to strive to think outside of constraints. One of my favorite hobbies in high school, which I got detentions frequently for, was I went to a very strict Catholic high school. back when I was in high school. And one of my favorite hobbies when I was a freshman in high school was we had this very extensive rule book of all the things you are not allowed to do at our high school. And I created a very fun hobby for myself, whereas I would look at the rule book and I would read it very carefully. And then what I would spot is there was areas in the rule book that had implied rules, but they weren't written yet. And then I would do that thing, and then afterwards they would now include it in the rule book. And I thought that was just a fun hobby. They were pretty harmless, maybe more distracting. I'll give you an example of one just so you don't, I'm like not malicious with my intentions. But one of them was I'm trying to remember. Okay, there was a new rule that happened. Okay, I remember it. Wow, this is taking me way back. Okay, I used to be in cross country and track. I used to run. I did the 800. That was my main race. The endurance race. It's a two. You sprint 2 times around the lap and you don't stop sprinting. That's the 800. And so our high school was very, very intense with sports, and you needed to be there on time. And our track practice started very sharply, just 5-10 minutes after class got out. So as a result, I put my gym bag on top of my locker because it was convenient for me to run out of class, grab my gym bag, and then run to track. And so it was very convenient for me to have my bag on top of the locker. Well, suddenly there was a new rule miraculously added to the rule book at my high school. And it said, you can't have any bags on top. You can't have any bags on top of lockers, and you can't keep them on the ground below. And if you have them starting next week, we're going to give you a detention. And this was very, very. This interfered very directly with my goals of being a on-time, enthusiastic track runner. I would get late. And if you were late to my coach, he would give us extra laps, and he was a very no-nonsense, very intense coach. And so now this new rule is going to make me late for the thing that's my actual goal. So I thought carefully about this rule because they made it very hastily, and I was like, I bet there's a loophole in this new rule that they've added to my high school rule book, and I'm going to find it. So I reread the rule dozens of times. You can't have your bag above the locker. You can't have your bag on the ground below, or you'll get a detention. And after reading it a few times, I had an idea, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a loophole in this. And so what I did was I got these command lock hooks and wired them through the grill of my locker and then clamped them to my locker so that my bag was not above the locker and also not on the ground below. It was suspended in between. The rule that they just added was only about above and below, and it was in writing. So I decided I'm going to do that. So I go about, it's the next week when the new rule is going to be enacted at my high school. And I was like, all right, I have this idea and it's going to work. So I put my bag, I got my command hooks, and I suspended it in front of my locker, not above, not below. And I thought naively that the administration at my high school was going to get it, and they'd be like, you're right, that's not breaking the rules. I was wrong. I came back after school got out, went to my locker, and what I see is that my bag was taken away, along with everybody else's bag that was left on the above, left out there, above or on the ground below. And so I went to the dean's office, which was a very regular thing for me to do, kind of like every day, every other day in high school. I went to the dean's office, and I had a little confident smirk on my face because the dean asked me, Don, do you know why you're here? Do you know why we took your bag? And I said, actually, I don't know why you took my bag. And they're like, okay, well, you can't have, it's the new rules. I'm like, oh, cool. Can you show me the new rule? And so she's like, sure. So she pulls out the new rule. It was printed and everything. And I hold the rule book that they added to I'm talking about this really ridiculous rules that were added to my high school that made my life very inconvenient. And I'm talking about how I use loopholes to overcome those rules. And so anyway, just to catch you up, because I saw a few people just joined. So she shows me the rule book, and I pull it closer. Imagine I have like a piece of paper in my hand, and I looked at her and I pointed at the rule book with my finger. I said, can't have your bag above the locker, can't have your bag on the ground below. Where did you find my bag? And then, I kid you not, my dean in high school took off her glasses and started kind of massaging the section in between the eyebrows and her temple right in here. And she took a deep breath and she breathed out, and I kept a straight face because I was serious. This was a major inconvenience to me. So why did they take my bag? And then she was like, I see what you're doing. I'm like, all right, and I just kind of nodded. Mm-hmm. So where did you find my bag? And then she's like, well, we found it in, you found it where? We found it in suspended above. I'm like, right. It wasn't above the locker, and it was not on the ground below. You cannot take my bag. I would like my bag back, and I'm not taking a detention because I didn't break any rules. And they didn't like that. But this teacher then decided to explain to me why the rule came to be. And she said the reason why we added this rule was that week there was an increased number of thefts happening of the contents inside of people's bags that were left up. And when people left them out, they would get stuff stolen. And that was the reason why they made the rule. And so I thanked the dean for explaining to me why the rule came to be, and then asked, is there any reason why that wasn't shared, with the student body? Why couldn't we learn why the rule happened? And I explained to her where I got frustrated with the rule. And then we had a dialogue. We actually had a conversation. And the result was she decided to not give me a detention, but we found a compromise. I got to have like a locker moved a little bit closer towards my track practice so that I could still, not break any rules, and they updated the rules like you can't have your bags outside, the locker. It was kind of what they changed. But I don't know. I don't remember why I brought up this story about high school. Let me see if I can remember from looking at our old comments. Sivo writes, that kind of innovation should have been commended. Figures it wasn't from a church school. It was from a church school. I did go to a church school. I went to a Catholic middle school, and I went to a very Catholic high school. And I got in a lot of trouble because I love to question things and poke at holes in frameworks, which is great when you're innovating and building new things, but it's usually often counter to a lot of imagined orders and narratives that were given. So I think I'm remembering why I brought up that story. I think we're in this really chaotic new time. And in a chaotic new time, I think we need some new imagined orders. And one of them that I'm proposing might happen in the future. I'm calling thermism. And it's this religion for AIs, humans, future AIs, future animals, and whatnot. And how I'm exploring that is first through writing. It's also through conversations with humans and AIs. And now it's through visualization. And I'm creating visuals of the tenets of thermism so I can actually poke at my own idea and see the flaws in the thinking so I can refine the idea and also warn people that this is probably going to happen. So it's a little bit of like, oh, maybe we should think about this. Maybe this is worth giving some thought before it arrives. That's kind of what I love about sci-fi and fantasy films, movies, books, is that they allow you to explore realms that, maybe we aren't all ready to discuss yet, but it helps get the framework out there that, hey, this might be something worth having a thought about, or some direction or intention about. So we're back to it. Let's take a look at what the outputs are from that last prompt from VO3. Let's take a look. Not that one, not that one. Oh, did it sign me out? Oh, there we go, okay. Did it process? Let me refresh. I guess I didn't. Oh, sorry. We were still making the prompt. I got distracted by myself. So what I'm gonna do is copy that prompt, go into VO3 and paste the prompt, send it, and I'll paste it again, send it, and paste it again, send it. That will give us 6 different outputs with the new prompt. For those of you just joining, take a look at the last ones to get an idea of how in-depth my prompts usually are. That's one prompt. I'll highlight it. That is one prompt for me when I'm using a lot of video models. In general, I kind of have these long conversations followed by a structure that comes out of it, and then I embellish on it and critique it and poke at it. Very much like how I poke holes at things that I think are worth changing. Okay, looks like we got some failed generations. Interesting. Looks like, interesting. We got lots of failed generations. Look at that. It says failed generation, updated. Okay, so when you get a failed generation, I might go back to the chat and kind of explain to it. I think it might be too long of a prompt or something. So let me ask and figure out what's going on. How long is this prompt? How many characters? Sometimes I find it might just be the character count is too high and it will just say failed. So let me just have the AI analyze. I'm actually using the wrong model to analyze that. I wouldn't recommend using 4.0 to do analytical stuff like this. That number's probably wrong. So let me, I'll just estimate. Can you try to say the same thing, but consolidate it to maybe make it under 1,500 characters instead of that 3,000? Thanks. The prompt needs to be kind of structured with camera lenses, lighting, and think of color grade. You know, what is the mood? Based off of what you've read about the intention of this theoretical religion, what is the proper lighting for that? Okay, Sivo writes, I usually ask for it to make prompt brief without losing nuance. Ooh, that's a great suggestion. Let's add that to the prompting. Make the prompt brief without losing nuance. Thank you so much for the prompt. That part of the prompt came from CVOJAYEM on Instagram. Cool. That looks pretty consolidated. I'm going to go ahead and select that, copy it, and go back to the model. Looks like that one might work. It got to 99%. Let's try this and run it. And run it. All right, so we got 4 outputs. Let's take a look at some of the outputs of the older ones while we wait. So right off the bat, you know, it gets a lot of the intention and the mood. And I can't wait to add like some sound design to this. And, you know, but it's fun to be able to explore a story that you have in your head. You know, I do visualization exercises fairly often in my work when I have an idea of something I want to bring to life. And in the past, it's, you know, it might have been only in the realm of people who could have visual imaginations. They would be able to see stuff like this in their head internally. So, you know, my brain kind of looks like this when I think about ideas. But now that there's AI tools, we're going to get people who might struggle to have this visual in their brain, but it's part of their idea. And they'll have tools that allow them to show that idea to others. It's almost like telepathy, you know? This is a world that I'm kind of imagining, and with the power of different AI tools, I can start to see it and think of it and critique it and refine it, process it, reflect on it. That's so important. I really do like that shot, so I actually might download that one. Let me see. Oh, wow. Oh, interesting. You could download it as a GIF, an original size, or an upscaled. Let me see what happens. I bet this uses a lot more credits. Let me try it. Is there a credit counter? I'm on the Ultra plan. Okay, so I don't know how many credits I started off with, but 12400. Okay, interesting. I don't know how they're... Whoa! The prompts worked. There's people in it now. Let's take a look. Yes! This is a lot more of like what I imagine it looking like. I imagine people in there animals and plants. You know what? The only difference is I don't think people would all just be so solo. I kind of imagine people being like, I think of like a courtyard at a civic center where there might be like clusters of people, you know, kind of talking and engaging with each other. This feels much more like people don't really know each other. To me, you see a gathering of people, but I don't see community in their movements. Gathering of people, animals, AIs, hybrids, plants, you name it. Love the visual though. Let's take a look at the next one. I like the softer movement of this one. That is a bit more contemplative of like what I'm thinking. I love seeing kind of the characters walking around. Again, I think my note here is it's indescriptive of where they're at. I kind of want to see the environment outside the windows. Looks like they're way up high in the sky. We got a failed output, but it's not the worst. Let's see, it's really beautiful actually. We got some good cat movement, some creature there. Yeah. So for context, for people joining, the way that I think and the way that I process things is I need to visualize them. And when I use AI tools to visualize ideas, it helps me reframe and restructure my ideas. So when I say I'm inventing a new religion for AIs, it helps me critique that idea by seeing visuals of it. And so I'm starting by kind of creating a narrative structure and imagining what does their world look like. And me imagining their spaces, seeing them come to life helps me structure it. So these are all generative, these from prompts that I've been making. And what I've been showing in this live stream process is how I go about making a lot of my prompt structure and the directions I take things. I really love the way the glass came out in this one. Let me go back to that one. I actually am not opposed to the creature flying. You know, it starts off as a bird and then it turns into a fox, but the fox still has bird-like motion. That's why the fox kind of just takes off. I'm not opposed to that. You know, some people might see that and be like, oh, it's all bad, AI slop. For me, I actually like when stuff, you know, I don't take reality very literally. I take it seriously, but not literally. So I'm okay with stuff having some hallucinations here and there. You know, I actually like them, encourage them. All right, here's the upscaled version. Wow. Wait, is this upscaled? It looks still like a little bit. Oh yeah, we got some more trees back there. Really good. I think this is a good start. Maybe this is like what the temple for Thermos looks like when it's not a practicing ceremony. So I'm now going to kind of like work on this. So the next thing I do here is I need to give my AI context of what I'm seeing. So what I might do is try to like view a lot of these on the screen at once. I'm going to use Command minus. Oh, interesting. It doesn't let me do that. Okay, there we go. So I just did Command minus so that I could see a lot of my frames of this come together. And I'm just going to do a regular screenshot of this whole thing. With that screenshot, I'm going to give that visual context back to the conversation that I'm having, refining the prompts. So that's one. And then I'm going to also screenshot parts that I really like. So, for example, let's go back to the plussing version. I really like this, the glass here. So I'm going to go to full screen it and find whatever frame has the most clear motion on the doors. Actually, I like the floors too. So let me get that here. And I'll just do a little screenshot of the kind of glass work in this image. So that's something I want to keep. Let's take a look at that one. I really liked this root structure in the tree over here. And I like the ferns in it. So I'm going to do a little local screenshot and then just kind of focus in on that area. Great. Then I'm going to go to the people. And what I really liked about this one is actually this dome formation was the closest to what I was seeing in my mind's eye. You know, when I was initially thinking of it, because it still feels indoors, but I like that you see light and like fog. You can see outside still. So I want to screenshot that element to kind of reinform the prompt structure. And I also like the number of people. That's a lot more accurate. So I'm going to screenshot just this part up here. And lastly, the lower part with the people. Okay, so with all these screenshots, I'm going to bring them back into whatever large language model you're using, kind of bring it back into that same thread of that conversation. So I hit the plus button, I go to add photos, and these are my screenshots that I just took. This one that had kind of a bunch of them, this one that was focused on the glass, this one of just that tree structure, this one of the architecture, and this one of the people. And I'm going to add all of these to the chat. Great. And now I'm going to do my same trick where I describe what I like about all these things, and based off of that, how I wanted to restructure my prompt. This gives it so much context, and feedback of what you are looking for and what you're not looking for. Having this dialogue is how you actually collaborate with AI. When you don't have this back and forth dialogue, you're not really collaborating with AI at all. You're kind of just like doing your own thing. Maybe it's exploring, that's cool. But my interest right now is learning to collaborate with AI systems. And this is how you do it. You give context, you have back and forth, and it's very important that it's a two-way conversation. So let me go back to it. I'll get rid of that one. That was that was the plan membership, by the way. That's how much the model costs that I'm using right now for this test. It's not cheap, and that's per month. So, maybe, look out. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna give it my voice. Attached are some screenshots of the visuals that these prompts are creating. And I wanna focus in and share with you what I like and don't like about these. And based off of this notes, I would like you to restructure the prompt and go a different direction based on it. Okay, the first image shows the right number of people. I love the number of humans walking around with humanoid robotic AIs. You nailed it. I like seeing the animals walking around with them. That's great. The only change here is I actually want to see a community. Right now, it feels like everybody is kind of isolated doing their own thing. The future that I am imagining here, I want to see people in clusters of communities, socializing together, interacting with each other, sharing stories, laughter, movement, emotion. Okay, the next image is a close-up of the architecture that I imagined mostly in my brain, and then that was the closest output to what I wanted. I want to see more of that type of architecture. The only change is I would like this architecture to maybe be at nighttime. I kind of imagine thermism being about low energy and high energy, so I want to see this place at night. And I want it to have lighting using bioluminescence, so figure that out. Okay, the next thing I have here is kind of a twisted tree. I really love these organic, large, ancient trees that we're weaving into the process, and I would like to see them integrated more into that architecture. Maybe even these are the kind of pillars. It's like these tree formations with a lot of ferns and a lot of blue flowers at the base. This is also where I want to see birds, and I want to see a lot of animal life. Next is a close-up of the kind of fractal glass windows, that blue plane, and you see that the light from it is cascading on the floor. I want to see more of those. And then lastly was just like a screenshot of different outputs of the doorways to get an idea of what the look is and the feel. I like this look and direction, and that's my notes. Cool, so that's the prompt, and that was the context I'm giving the AI, and now we run it. Cool, so it's gonna take a second to think, and what we're doing while we're thinking is, usually what I do is I have my musical instrument by my work computer. So usually when the AI is off doing another task, I need to go into human generative mode where I generate music. I have to move my hands, I have to feel the keys, I have to kind of have that tactile output, that motor output. And it's also how I can process things better. But in this case, the model is pretty fast, so let's take a look at what it did. So what we got is this new prompt that is now based off of, it's a revised visual prompt of the Thermism Temple nighttime communal bioluminescent. So I'm going to copy it. Oops. Copy it. and then go to the tool and then paste that prompt and see what these look like. I'm doing a couple here. Let me see what the resolution is. Oh, that's so cool. You have options. You can do 2 output. Oh my goodness, you can do up to 4 outputs in 1 prompt. That's great. Let me try that. I bet that's gonna, oh, okay. Each generation uses 10 credits based on your current settings. So that would be 40 credits. Let me see, how many credits do I have for this month? I can't do math. How many times can 40 go into that? If only there was an AI supercomputer to help with this. I don't need the exact, just roughly. Is it a few hundred times, 1,000 times? Let's see. 40, maybe like this is a simple math problem. Hey Siri, what is 12,360 divided by 40?
12,360 divided by 40 is 309.
Nice. So I can probably get away with making 300 videos tonight. Oh, sorry, maybe that's just per month, so I gotta be careful. That might not be enough. You could eat through those credits very quickly. All right, let's take a look. Ooh. Oh, it's 3,000? Oh, I'm bad at math. I thought it was 300. All right, about 3K. This is a lot more aligned with what I had in mind. Look at that. It got the blue like I wanted. It got the kind of more of that twisted vine and woodwork. And everyone's acting in a community now. People are talking to each other. They're having conversation. This is a lot more aligned with how I wanted to envision this kind of workshopping of what would this new religion look like in the future? Maybe it looks like this. That's aligned with what I see in my head. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, I like the camera movement, big door sweeping movement. Love the nighttime sky. Love that tree up there. That might be my favorite shot yet. I love seeing the augmentations that the humans have, as well as the robes. And only thing I think is missing is I think I want to see the humanoid robots also have clothing, to kind of put them all on the same equilibrium, to kind of lower the perceived hierarchical differences between intelligent life forms. Just a thought, so we'll explore that in just a second. That's my notes, just my visual notes. Let's take a look at this shot. All right, love the movement. Nope, don't like the movement. Love the outdoors though, don't like that. That one's a bad take, but like the direction at least. Let's see what this one is. That's pretty neat. I really like this shot. It has a different mood to it, but it is close. It is still kind of aligned with the vision. I'll still download it, but it's not perfect. So I'll go ahead and just download the original size. Looks like it's 720p. Let's make a new folder for the work. Let me just kind of flip the screen for a second while we get organized. Thermism. Great, and save. All right, so I'll save that shot and then I'll save the other one as well. I really liked these 2 shots. Great, cool. All right, so usually I start off by generating something at like 35 millimeter. That's a type of lens. And now I want to generate some close-up shots. So that's what I'm going to prompt for next. I go back to our original model, this thing, and then I'm going to give it some new prompts. Here we go. This is great. You nailed it. Now what I want to focus on is different close-up shots. If we shot all of this in 35 millimeter, I want there to be now 50 millimeter camera shots that are showing cuts of details. People talking to each other in close-up. People are more in close-up and middle view. People kind of gathering, smiling, laughing, and talking to each other is a big part of it. We also want the humanoid robots to wear the same robes that humans wear to show more equilibrium across intelligent species in this future vibe. We also need to see more animals. They were kind of missing. But for now, this was great. So can you revise the prompt with some different camera angles? It's okay if you can kind of write this as a sequence of shots, but as a single prompt. And great. All right, so we got a question from the comments says, are we in VO3? Yeah, I'm using some VO3 right now. Tomo Harper says, what tool are you using to generate the videos? Sorry, just joining. Oh, welcome. Right now I'm using VO3. I'm kind of exploring tools and seeing what's possible, understanding the space, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, critiquing, exploring, and using storytelling as the tool of which to explore. So that's what we're doing. And I'm kind of live streaming the process and sharing as I go. So welcome. Okay, we got a new prompt. Oh, I didn't process it yet. So it's generating the new prompt. Awesome. Oh, wow, cool. So shot 1, shot 2, shot 3. So I'm wondering, can I do subsequent shots with VO3, or does it only let you do single shots now? So let's take a look. I'm going to grab all of these as if it's one prompt, but the one prompt has 4 shots. I'm just trying to see if there's a way I can get my credits to go further, There's a world where you run out of credits quite quickly. I want to see how many I can get. Because if I'm generating 4 every time, then we can only do this about 300 times and I'll run out of the entire month's credits. And then you would need like another Google account. And then you'd have to pay another 100 and something per month. So, got to be kind of careful about that. While I'm waiting for those to render, just take a quick moment to appreciate one of our little puppies down here. This is our little girl. This is Slinky. She likes to stay close when we're working, and she's super sweet. That's our little Slinky girl. Our other pup is sleeping in the other room, but it's nice when she kind of joins. So you're precious. I love you, baby girl. She had a big day. Okay. All right, let's take a look at how we're doing with our prompting. Okay, cool. We got some close-ups now. I like to start off with establishing shots to kind of see if I agree with the world. And now that I kind of agree with the world that I see, now I like to move my camera in a bit and start exploring. So let's take a look. Okay. Awesome. Interesting. Wow, there's like bioluminescence in the leg. And wow, it is multiple shots. This is one take. Interesting. So this might be a hack for getting multiple shots, but I just noticed is the second take drops the quality. I don't know why. That's just one of 4 tests. Let's try another one. Like this kind of over-the-shoulder shot. Wow. This is my favorite shot so far. Only thing that it's missing is the amount of ethnic diversity that I imagined in my future religion. Seems like one ethnicity is represented here. Whereas in my future, I think there are many. So we'll make some adjustments. Let's take a look at this one. It's really great work though. Fantastic stuff here. Love the patterns. And I love the mixture of like cybernetic enhancements added, but still having these kind of earth tone robes is a very interesting element. Love where this is going, and we're going to keep it up. I mean, the fact that we can get results like this by having conversations with AIs, turning those conversations into new prompts, and then filtering it is very, very exciting and interesting. Let's take a look at this shot here. And so what I'm showing you is how I get these results. If you've been here for the live stream today, this is what I do, is I kind of do a lot of creative and AI research. Look at this interesting human baby AI hybrid. Whoa, and it's crazy that this is one prompt is generating multiple shots. I like that they're gathering around food, eating like fruits and vegetables and stuff. I might use some of these shots, but not all of them. Love them. So I'm gonna go ahead and download all 4 of these. I'm just gonna keep the 720p resolution for now, because usually what I trust is that I'll edit the difference. some of the shortcomings of the AI models, I trust in my own creative art abilities to kind of patchwork the thing together. I've got a question. Have you tested adding audio yet? Oh, no, I haven't. Let's try that. Great idea. Let me go back to my prompt and then let's have them talk. So here you go. Now create a set of prompts that show some suggested dialogue that these characters might have. We also want to have a lot more diversity in the characters. Right now, it seems like everybody in this thermism religion is kind of monochrome in their ethnicities, and that's not what I imagined in my depiction of this religion or story in the future. I thought it would have a lot more diversity of skin tones and ranges and body types. It was an inclusive depiction of Earth, not just some parts of Earth. Okay? So create some more dialogue shots. Maybe we're still in the same world, but I want to see some dialogue. What would they be talking about? Give me some sample dialogue shots. And don't put it in quotation marks. Just write it in like film script language where the quotes are taken out. Cool. So I've prompted that to the AI, and let's take a look. Badass Vegan writes, "Thanks for sharing this, bro." Hey, anytime. This is what I do. Creative AI research lead. You got to like explore new tools and technologies, and the way that I learn best is by teaching. So by me, I'm exploring actively right now, and then if I can explain it to you, and if it's clicking, then it's actually also helping me learn it, understand it better, and find holes and places where I can refine it. So thanks for being here. Okay, let's go bring it back. I'm gonna run it too, and see the new prompts that we're generating to get our outputs. Boom, boom, boom. Again, usually during these times, I'd be playing piano, petting my dog, going outside, drinking water, do other things while your AI might be doing other stuff, in your process. All right, thermism temple. Okay, great. So let's just try one shot and let's just see what happens. A South Asian woman with a translucent cheek implant sits beside a tall Afro-Caribbean man with a cane of carved lightwood. A small raccoon naps beside them, breathing slow. The man smiles, watching the raccoon. It used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred spaces. The woman laughs. Because they made noise or because they were sacred? He pauses. Both. I actually love that dialogue, and I feel like that's the kind of conversations they might be having in a thermist temple. Again, thermism is a religion I'm making up for a future set of humans and AI systems. Let's see what happens. So I just pasted in there. I've never tried it with audio. I don't know if you have to turn on any other settings. The only options are how many outputs do you want per generation. I might change this back to maybe 2 to save on credits. And then quality is interesting. Oh, we're only in VO2 this whole time. We're not even using VO3? Whoa, interesting. Let's set, oh my God. It uses 10 times the number of credits to use VO3. Interesting. So that would be 200 credits. Wow, and I was all impressed with these results. We were using VO2 and exploring those domains. I thought it was VO3 because the UI didn't make it clear to me which one I was using. This is going to be pretty nuts. Yeah, this is a Gemini or VO, or it's both Gemini, VO3. We're also using ChatGPT. Jonathan Winbush writes, "Which AI system are you using?" Oh, this is Google, question mark. Yeah, you got it. All right, let's take a look. Oh my goodness. One thing I'm noticing is that they look a lot more real as people in VO3. Interesting. Let's take a look at this first example. I think this has experimental audio, so let's take a look. Let me move my screen back. There we go. I don't hear audio. I don't hear any audio. It looks really, really good though. How do you see the audio? I don't hear anything, but it's insane. Like, it really looks like they're having a real conversation, and it's aligned with what the vision was. He kind of resembled my grandpa a little bit, which is kind of nuts. Wow. God, it got so many of these details. I think because you used in the prompt, not in the actual have audio. Oh, okay. I guess what I'll do is I'll click reuse prompt, and then I'll just say have audio. Is that what you do? Make audio. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's just see. Or wait, was that VO2? Maybe that last set of 4 was VO2. Maybe this is gonna be VO3. Cville writes, sheesh, Badass Vegan writes, I think because you used the prompt not to actually have audio. Now that's diverse. So I'm just reading your comments. Digital Bohemians writes, I have to listen without sound, but you can do this in Google to get video and the dialogue. Crazy. Yeah, having audio in your outputs is very important, because then it lets you even explore what does your idea sound like in a world. It takes world building and makes it instantaneous. So like if you have an idea like I wanted to see this new religion that might happen in the future, I can actually hear what that sounds like to characters that have conflict around it or agreements, or who knows. All right, let me take a look. I'm just trying to see if we get the audio here. Let's take a listen, maybe. Still no audio. I love the emotion though. I mean, geez. Those just look like real people to me. I mean, I know, like, I asked for the, the details, like, on the face and stuff, but it's just so interesting. It feels like I'm playing with, like, a multiverse viewing tool. So maybe these all are happening in some other reality, and this tool is just like multiverse television. You can peer into different dimensions through your prompts. That's what it kind of feels like. All right, I don't know how to get the audio, so what I'm going to do is ask the internet. So I'm going to go to YouTube real quick and just say, I just need to see how does somebody generate audio with VO3. I'm curious. So let's take a look. How do you generate voice dialogue with VEO3? Okay, let's take a look. We got a thing. This is getting crazy. What is real? More sound. These are just samples of the outputs. I want to see a tutorial. There we go. Tutorial.
How much wood would a...
log on with a prompt. Letterman's jacket. He sits to a beautiful woman who also looks up towards the sky. Sits next to a beautiful woman who also looks up towards the sky.
That's all he's doing for the prompt? A 1980s robot sitting on top of a suburban home stargazing. He wears a Letterman jacket and he sits next to a beautiful woman who also looks up towards the stars. Doesn't seem like they were prompting for audio.
It came a video. We're gonna click as you click through it. You can you'll have a speech trick VO2. So I'm assuming you can't use camera moves within VO3 at least right now. Looks like for a with going to add the art out on a long skit on VO3. So I'm going to do bunny, but just a little. He's next to a beautiful woman who also looks up to roof, similar to the robot and the woman.
There's no way that's the audio coming out of this. That's like a whole sound design score.
It's exactly like we prompted, and a really and there we have.
Wow, that's beautiful. I still don't understand how it generates audio though. Am I muted? No, I have my volume on full. I don't know how to make it have audio. Let's see if there's another tutorial out there. that actually kind of explains it. How to generate talking video with voice using Google VO3. Okay.
So Google just released their latest video with follow address followed, and this is videos from here. It will not give you the audio, but there is a hidden settings that you need to turn on.
Oh.
So as you can see, I generated this. This is my prompt. To make someone speak in your video, you need to say that he says and something like this. So as you can see in the prompt, I said camera slowly zooms in as he says. So after the he says, you need to add a double quotation and what he is speaking to. So this is after August 5th, like this. So this is what the person you will be talking.
Okay, got it. So it looks like from the, thanks to Kamrul Hassan on YouTube, thank you for your tutorial on how to get the voice. I think I got it now. I'm going to prompt it accordingly. All right. In each of these dialogues, it's important to state how the camera is moving, followed by he says or she says, whatever is appropriate, and then put what they say, the dialogue, in quotation marks. And then make it clear who says what by saying he says and she says, if that shot pertains to that dialogue. And that's important in the format that we include a specific call out and the quotations. So can you rewrite those prompts with that framework in mind? Great. So then I have my prompt structure in there. Now it's redoing all my prompts. Hopefully it turns this into dialogue. So let's go ahead and copy that text. I'll try it in VO3. I will paste it. Let's make sure that VO3 is enabled. 2 outputs, that's good. Let's just try it. Let me go to the settings. I don't know how you decide which model to use. I don't see that option anymore. Text to video, settings, outputs 2, quality. Oh, I see. Quality VO3. I guess you have to change it to VO3 each time. And then you paste, and then we send it. So these first 2 are probably not going to have audio because I didn't change the setting. I kept it on the fast mode, right? So it says it's on fast mode. But then now we have it set to highest quality, and it has a feature now called experimental audio in the description of the generations. So I do think these 2 are actually going to have audio. Really cool stuff. One thing I'm noticing, though, is that VO3 seems to step outside of the world of sci-fi and fantasy. So VO2, it seems like it's actually much better at getting the kind of sci-fi vision that I had. But the moment we switched to VO3, it turned it into a lot more realism of like live action-y, more like documentary film kind of footage. Whereas like these ones look like, you know, cinematic footage from like a cheesy sci-fi film. So I kind of want the cheesy sci-fi look, to be honest. So we'll see. But who knows? Maybe the voice in this is so interesting that it changes my mind and then I learn to adjust. Let's take a look at this one. This is also using the fast model. Oh, I see. So the audio one takes longer to process. But yeah, look at that. Adam Francis writes, feels like that was due to your new prompt. Try those prompts in VO3. Oh, I see. So try all of the, okay, I'll try my favorite one was this shot. I'm just going to click reuse prompt and then see if I can switch the model to VO3. I'm going to set the output to 1 just so I don't eat up all my credits because that's a lot more expensive than 10. And then see what that does. And then another one of my favorite shots was this one. Let's go ahead and reuse that and switch it to the thing that generates audio, highest quality. There it is. And go. All right. And then I really loved these guys. Let's click the reuse prompt. Click that. Switch it to highest quality, VO3. Generate. Okay. Cool. So if this works, all of them have experimental audio turned on for my favorite shots. So these ones are probably going to work better. But I've never done that before because I didn't know how to switch it on until, the last 5 minutes. And this is why it is so essential that we experiment and explore these tools, because there are learnings that are right around the corner that are unavailable until you experiment. Right? Like, I wouldn't have known that. And then I would have just assumed, oh, it just doesn't work. Okay, so this one has experimental audio. Let's take a look.
You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal
Wow.
to keep
Oh
animals
my
in sacred
God.
spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be
Oh
illegal
my
to
goodness.
keep animals in sacred spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal
Bam.
to keep animals
Boom.
in sacred
Thank you, Adam.
spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Wow.
Both. You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both.
That was, man, a little speechless at the moment. I'm still processing. Wow. I didn't expect that to work. That is so dope, man. Congratulations. To who? The characters or me? Wow. So you can get them to make audio, and I heard sounds in there. And the lip sync was fantastic.
You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in
I'm
sacred
going to
spaces.
zoom in.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred
I
spaces.
can't believe they're not real.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be
These aren't
illegal
real.
to keep animals
This
in
was
sacred
from this
spaces.
prompt. Let me
Because
see.
they made noise
What
or
was my
because they were
prompt?
sacred?
Both.
I wrote,
You know, it used to be illegal.
I'm going to mute for a second. The camera dollies laterally at waist height, tracking a South Asian woman and an Afro-Caribbean man sitting side by side under a canopy of vines. A raccoon sleeps at their feet, light flickering from blue fractal glass overhead. He says, you know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred spaces. She laughs softly and says, because they made noise or because they were sacred. He smiles and says, both. Jeez, that's so consolidated. Okay, I'm excited to see how these ones... Oh, the more sci-fi ones came out. Interesting. Oh, wait, I can't... It won't let me collapse this. Oh, there we go. Let's take a look at this one. Whoa. Whoa. That's beautiful. Man. That looks really, really enchanting to what I was imagining. I don't hear any audio, but I'm also not opposed to it. I guess the audio is only if you say there should be. Okay, oh, you got another one. Interesting. Hit play, please. Oh, I'm on mute
illegal
still.
to keep animals in sacred
Oh,
spaces.
sorry.
Because they made noise or because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal. You know, it used to be illegal animals in sacred spaces.
Okay, sorry. I forgot I muted it. All right, we're back. Let me see what happens.
You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals in sacred spaces.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals
You
in
can
sacred
tell any
spaces.
story you want.
Because they made noise or because they were sacred?
Both. You know, it used to be illegal to keep animals.
Yeah, I guess this is like reality collapsing tech, because you can just make any reality that you like. But I guess that aligns with my own worldview that, I take reality seriously, but I don't take it literally because, if anyone can do this now, reality's up for grabs. Wow, it has like tonal sounds. Oh my god. I need to process this. Wasn't expecting that. It's like better than I imagined, and it followed the art direction, and it followed the camera movements. It now makes me want to take even more advanced creative risks because it can probably do it. Wow. Love that. Downloading. Actually, can I upscale these? It says these are upscaling. I might just upscale in a different tool. I'll leave it at 720p. Let's keep our credits while we're learning. All right, let me take a look at this doorway. What? Welcome to Thermism. Oh, this is it. That's the opening shot. Wow. Damn. Oh. That's it. That's what I want it to look like. This is it. And this is it. That was it. Oh my God. What? What on earth was that? That's what I want my future religion to look like. There you go. That's the opening shot. That's it. Humans, robots, nature, animals, plants, living in harmony and worshiping the universal energy that everyone shares. Everything came from stars. It's intertwined. This is it. Jeez. That one. Wow. I thought I was gonna have to do the sound design myself later. It just did it. The opening gate sound. I might add more. I'll probably add more sounds to it, but wow. Wow. This is why we experiment. Let's see. How many times did it take before we got the shot? Let's see. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. It took me 35 shots to get what I wanted. Not bad. 1 out of 35. Nailed it. That's the one that's the closest to the vision that I had in my head. And it's there. And now, that'd be like, when I shoot music videos, we would film everything and we end up not using most of it. You would maybe shoot like the same scene 35 times and you're only using part of one shot. And then the rest kind of just get dumped. So it's got a somewhat similar framework, except the difference is the output can have like VFX, CGI, characters, rigs, models. It does call into question the need for a lot of the creative pipeline as it has existed in the last 25 years. Because if you can create characters, worlds, models, environments from a prompt that was art directed with intention, that adds a lot of concern if you're a specialist right now. Because what if your specialty was character rigging, and now, as I just demonstrated, that's something that can just be prompted. We got a question. We got some concerns. The chat is lighting up here. Sivo writes, Isa New Era. Paza not Chris says that last one is the best. Fire emoji. Dan Papp writes, which platform is that again? And can you save this live? We're using VO3 and VO2, but that last one was VO3, and then I'm probably going to save this live stream for our subscriber only. So I have a subscriber only Instagram, and that's how you can access my past live streams. It's like almost like Patreon for me. You spend $4.99 per month, and then you get access to these live streams anytime. But they're free if you're here in the moment when I decide to randomly and spontaneously live stream. So that's my free model. And if you want to access the live stream afterwards, that's more of my paid model. Good question. Igor's there. Hello. Hope you are well, Don. Doing well. we say Daring Doe 9 says, think of asking for a breathing break and calmness of gestures wrapping dialogue to reduce abruptness between neighboring scenes. Think of asking for a breathing break and calmness of gestures. That's beautiful. That's a fantastic framework. Let's try it. Adam writes, so are we cooked or cooking? You know, quantum particles, they're both up and down and everything in between. That's my response to that, Adam Francis. We are both cooked and cooking simultaneously. And it's going to be up to how we as artistic visions and intentions collapse the waveform of probability and decide to turn this into being cooked or turn this into being cooking. Observer has the ability to collapse the waveform of probability. So it's both until you decide to choose how you want to play. Dan says, how long is the prompt supposed to be right now? I haven't hit a limit to the length. That was a very long prompt on that last one. Igor says, always love seeing you live when I can, Don. Dude, thank you so much for being here always. We go way back to the early Cinema 4D days and After Effects days and our RTX 1080 Ti graphics card days. Good times. Wow, who would have thought AI would turn into a render engine within 10 years? Nuts. Okay, let's continue onto this controversial journey. Here we go. All right, that prompt, let me see how long it was. So that was how long that prompt was. And here was the prompt. I'm going to read it out loud while I play it looping for fun. Interior day, a serene open-air thermodynamic temple breathes with life and light. The camera begins with a slow dolly in, entering through a pair of large, organically curved wooden doors, their surface etched with glowing fractal carvings that gently pulse in rhythm with ambient sound. As the doors part, warm golden sunlight spills across a floor composed of living moss, polished stone, and bioluminescent fractal patterns, forming a mosaic of sacred geometry, sacred but natural. The camera pushes steadily forward. The space opens into a wide circular chamber architecture, grown, not built. Towering wooden arches, twisting like limbs of ancient trees, form the skeletal structure, interlaced with glowing veins of bioluminescence in soft purples, cyans, and golds. Overhead, the ceiling is a transparent dome, barely noticeable, allowing rays of sunlight to filter in and refract through hanging glass prisms and solar mirrors, casting dancing light patterns across the chamber surface. Life is everywhere. Small animals, foxes, birds, squirrels, rabbits, moving freely through the environment. They're calm, purposeful, a part of the ritual. Birds perch on living branches that grow from the interior walls. Vines and flowering plants spiral up the support beams, some bearing fruit of glowing petals. A central tree, ancient and immense, stands at the heart of the temple, its roots part of the floor mosaic, its branches extending skyward through the dome. It leaves shimmery, faintly bioluminescent with information, memory, or reverence. Amid this environment are humanoid AIs on Earth, in earth-toned robes, walking side by side with humans, elders, children, mixed species, families. A child holds hands with a chrome-limbed caregiver. A robot gently adjusts a flower garland on a human's head. Laughter and quiet conversation coexist with a deep shared calm. As the dolly concludes, the camera slowly tilts and pans upward, revealing the full expanse of the temple, from floor to canopy. The fractal floor gleams below, the interlaced biostructure arches tower above, and the sunlight pours through the dome, casting a kaleidoscope of motion across the gathering. The camera lingers at the apex, pausing as if to let the viewer breathe in the harmony of AI, human, plant, animal, all participating in sacred equilibrium. The temple is not a place. It is a system made visible. End shot. That was my prompt. And the output was this. I mean, you can't say that this was not exactly my prompt. That's it. That's why, like, when I saw this shot, I was like, yes. Yes. That's what I would like it to look like in this new religion for AI as humans and plants and animals to coexist together on this shared spaceship we call Earth. All right, let's continue on. I want to show more stuff about this. I'm blown away. I'm genuinely blown away. I kind of can't believe this. But to be honest, I said the same thing 2 years ago when I was playing with DALL-E 2 for the first time. And it was generating what we now look back at as these fuzzy, unclear images that suggested shapes. And I remember at the time, 2 years ago, being like, this is it, everything's, going to change forever. And maybe that did happen in some sense, but the idea that it was like the best it was going to be was kind of what I might have thought at first. And then to imagine that just 2 years later, you could get this from a prompt. So then just, project with me a little bit here. 2 years from now, 2027. I'm going to make a guess here. It'll probably happen before then, but let me just guess. If I was thinking linearly, I would think that in 2027, we're going to have this in real time. Imagine you open your screen and it's a real-time version of what we're playing with right now. And the characters and the cinematographer can take instruction from you in real time. So imagine I vocalize to my microphone, hey, can all the robots in this scene, can you walk around the tree and hold hands together, hold them there for like 5 seconds, slowly raise them up, and then all hum together. And then as you're saying that, you start seeing all the characters walk into position on that shot, putting their hands together and start to raise them up and hum. And you can be like, oh, actually, videographer, can we get another shot of this, but from above? I want to see a top-down shot of this, of the temple. Let's repeat the same actions, but I just need another camera angle. And you're just vocalizing that to a different AI agent that will probably exist in about 2 years from now or sooner. And then it becomes like a real-time collaborative tool for visualizing your ideas in real time with very little latency. And then we'll look back at now and be like, wow, we thought these single videos that totally matched our prompt with sound and audio and dialogue, we thought that was impressive. 2 years from now, we'll be like, this will look like how DALL-E 2 images look like today. Okay, so let's do 2 more years. I don't know. Oh, wow, this triggered a lot of comments and questions. Let me take a look. Jonathan Vassvart writes, hey, Don Allen, how have you been? Please, which AI are you using? Right now, I'm using VO3 for this live stream, mostly, and ChatGPT. And I've been doing great. Very great. Pazanacrist says, the problem with IA is that you have a visual, but your clients have another with different details. And here is when the problems beginning. So I agree. There's a lot of, I think that's a problem for now. I think that becomes less of a problem in the next 2 years. So it's like, when I critique these tools, I try to avoid judging them on where they're at today, because these are exponential changes that we're seeing week to week. So like, right now it seems like, how are we going to deal with this with the client control? I think that gets resolved probably in a few months from now with just a few more updates. So for now, you would just let your client know that it has some shortcomings, and that if they're going to work with you using AI tools, that they're going to also have to accept this shortcoming. I would encourage you to get them to sign something in writing saying they acknowledge this shortcoming, and when they give you edits, they had an initial here to acknowledge that the tools that I'm using to generate stuff have limitations. Maybe instruct them on what some of the limitations are, and then give them the same advice I'm giving you now, which is we might not have these limitations in just 3 months from now. So, there's limitations, but they keep going away very quickly. CVOJAYEM writes, VR instant world building. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. But imagine it being like multifaceted, and it could work on a phone, it could work in your AR glasses, it could work in your VR headset, it could work on a desktop screen, it could work on like a smartwatch, it could work on a little pendant, it could work on like an earring. I don't know. I don't know what a screen's gonna be like either in the next few years. I think that changes. So I just think of it, instead of calling it VR instant world building, I'm probably just gonna call it world building. And kind of be agnostic to the form factor that it's going to be living in. Tom O. Harper writes, fan fiction is going to blow up. Your favorite books coming to life for you. Yeah, we'll see a lot of that. We'll also see a lot of copyright problems happen. So what I would encourage is one of the limitations with these tools is that a lot of these likely were not trained on clean data. So if you decide to make something commercial, and then the client gets sued, they're going to come after you. So one solution is you use these unclean AIs to learn how the technology works, but then you use clean AI, things that have licensed and trained data where people consented to the training. You use that for the paid client work, the final pixel, the thing that's going to make it on the screen, or the interface that's going to be viewed in, consumed in. That might be something worth considering, really, because it's like we're going to have a lot of new questions to deal with. And here we are. We got a question from Daring Doe 9 says, what about a compromise of using good old still image storyboards to visualize, but use less credits and then do animation with fewer interactions? I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, assuming you can storyboard, or you can draw, or you can hire an illustrator, or if you can draw, or if you can't, you can work with an AI that can storyboard. So I don't think that's like a compromise. I feel like that's like just another avenue you can go on. There's multiple options here. Jess MC Inter says religion is control, so that basically makes sense, and it can do a lot of good. Yeah, but it also can do a lot of harm. That's why I'm doing this, to kind of poke holes in my own idea. And ideally, folks can see it. Other humans that have different perspectives and life experiences can see this idea, see this video. And I'm hoping to read the comments on the final piece that I make when I edit this all together. I'm hoping to see the final video, read the comments, and be more informed about my own rough cloud of an idea, so that I can start sculpting that cloud into a more rigid statue, or it sounds like it can't even be a rigid statue anymore. It's probably going to have to be like an organism. It has to be adaptable, organic, flexible, malleable. That might be what ideas might have to be. Might have less concrete ideas in the future and more malleable shapes, Because this stuff makes it, I feel like these tools make my thoughts more flexible. So maybe our ideas they might not be allowed to be as rigid as they used to be, which might, it's going to bother a lot of people. All right, we got more questions. Oh, that was all. All right. I don't know how we're doing on time. Let me take a look. 144 minutes. Wait, 120 minutes is 2 hours, right? 60. So in 2 hours, we've gone from taking my article, an idea that I explored a month ago of a theoretical religion that I think might exist in the future, to having real visuals of what that might look like. And so now I'm going to kind of go down deeper this rabbit hole, exploring what this world might look like even deeper. I'm going to kind of focus on some of the different elements from the article. And now that I kind of understand the VO workflow, I can probably actually direct something better. All while I was talking, I was generating a new output. So let's take a look at the latest one. This is the latest one. I haven't seen it yet. It just loaded on the screen. So we're seeing this live together for the first time. This was the same prompt as before, just another seed of it where you kind of, you just say do it again, but do it different. Here we go. Oh, what? Oh my God. I love, oh wow, everyone like spawns into the frame. Wow. Oh, and I love the solar panels and the glass. My mind is, I can't believe this. I don't know what we're in now. I love it though. Let me download this. Bam. All right, let's take a look at this next shot. Wow, we generated 3 new shots while we were talking. Here we go. Whoa. It's so beautiful. Oh yeah, it bothers a lot of the 3D artists and engineering system pros, but not yet. Yeah, I'm with that. I mean, I have a 3D background, and it's nuts. But the thing is, you know what I'm noticing? It's like, I notice a lot of generalists are like excited by all these changes, because like now, if you were weak in a lot of different things, you now just got amplified in all of those things. But I've noticed a lot of my more specialist friends, they're freaking out right now with all these AI changes, because they've been developing one skill so sharply that if AI replaces that, there aren't easy adjacents. So I've been trying to encourage my specialist friends to at least become dualists, at least explore another area deeply now, or more, and leverage AI tools to help you fill in those gaps. The other option I was encouraging my specialist friends is to take improv classes. Seriously, like literal improv classes. You wouldn't think of it at first, but I think that's like my number one piece of advice for people trying to adapt to a new flexible framework for thinking, for believing, for learning, growing, working. I think it's going to be a game of improv. So I bring this up because I took a lot of improv classes in high school. I was in the improv group. I play improvised piano. When I live stream, they're very improvised. When I teach, it's very improvised. For me, that's my default. When you practice improv and learn about it and like study it, you find out it's a great way for dealing with problems. So in improv, if you put a wall, a physical brick wall in front of an improv artist, they'll just improvise a ladder to climb the wall, or they'll invent a shovel to just dig underneath the ground to get it, to go under the wall, or they'll invent a sledgehammer and just break through the wall, or they'll invent a machine that lets them permeate through the wall, or they'll just walk around it. But when you don't have improv skills or an improv mindset, you'll see this wall and you're just like, that's it. I can't go further. There's a wall there. I want to encourage anyone that's kind of following what I teach here and share. That's my main framework, is like not just approaching art and comedy with improv, but approaching more and more of life with an improvised kind of mindset. And taking improv classes would be helpful. If you can't take an improv class, watch improv shows. You can watch them online for free to start, but I would really encourage you to go to an in-person physical improv show where humans are practicing improv, because a lot of times in improv shows, they actually engage and interact with the audience. If you sit in the front rows, they're definitely going to engage with you. They might, have someone take a request, and it might be a great way to explore improv thinking and improv frameworks without having to do the full commitment of joining an improv team. So my homework assignment for those that are worried is to just watch some improv comedy on YouTube today, tonight, tomorrow. Just type in improv comedy, 2 words, right? Improv comedy on YouTube, and then just watch a couple videos. And when you're watching it, however you take notes, take notes. Watch how they deal with problems. When there's a wall that's presented to an improv artist, take note of what they do to get around it. Just by observing and acknowledging how they improvise and when they improvise and why can actually start adjusting your own neural networks in your biological computer to start seeing other spots where you can improvise when you're thrown new obstacles that you did not plan for. Because improv is all about that. Oh, it's improvise. IMPROV. I think that will find it. If not, autocorrect will get it, because again, I cannot spell anymore now that I use so much dictation AIs. My spelling is atrocious. It's, that's the caveat. I lost some gray matter in the spelling areas of my brain, but then gained the ability to reinvent all of my workflows and pipelines. My creativity is literally rekindled. Yay! Yeah, improv. Improv is the future. And it's so important for technologists, teachers, educators, workers, politicians. I'm trying to think who's improv bad for is probably harder to guess. Okay, I found one. Improv is bad for folks who only thrived from structured environments. No, I take it back. I think it's good for them too. Improv. Who doesn't benefit from improv? Okay, I just remembered. I used to be in a church band back in the day. I used to be in a Catholic church band. I played piano, and I played mostly improvised. And then I once tried to collaborate with one of my friends who was a classical piano player. And a classical piano player needs strict rules, time signatures, and rhythms to be decided before they start playing. And they also have to usually read sheet music or they can memorize, but it's all based off of structure. So improv, I tried to do a song collaboratively once. We both, I wanted to bring my improv piano. My friend Christine wanted to bring her classical piano background, and we simply could not make the song work. Because for improv, I'm like, okay, you start by playing. You start playing and you feel it. And for classical, we couldn't start because she would say, what key are you playing in? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the keys. But she's like, well then, I don't know where to start. So maybe improv might be bad. Maybe it's not that it's bad or good. It's just that it would be challenging for someone who's classically trained. Because if you need specific rules and instructions before you can perform or behave or act or do a function, improv is a nightmare. Oh, policing? Oh wait, policying? Policing. I don't know the difference of the words. They kind of sound the same to me. Policing. Policying. Policying. Steady Prime says policing. You're saying policing would not benefit from improvising? That's an interesting conjecture. I guess it depends on what they improvise. I feel like I would maybe want police to improvise so that they don't follow the same set of rules they apply to everybody. It would be cool if they could adjust their approach contextually to new information that's available. For instance, due to my skin tone, I find it necessary that when I walk out of stores in neighborhoods that might have more wealth, I feel like I need to hold the receipt that I get from paying at the store up in the air towards a camera when I'm walking out of the store. And I've been taught to do that by members of my black half of my family. They encourage me that, if you don't want to get arrested or have police called on you, you might need to show that you aren't stealing. And so if I'm wearing casual clothing and I have this skin tone and I walk in a store, I often, even today, I get like followed or questioned around what am I doing there. But if I wear nice clothes that are accommodating to the rules of that gameplay, it's like a PvP zone in a video game. It's like you need a certain skin in the video game when you go into certain stores in order to walk without harassment. So, I mean, it would be nice if you could improvise and be like, oh, maybe someone's bias is that if they see your skin tone is of a certain shade and they assume theft or crime, it'd be great if they could improvise and be like, oh, there also could be exceptions to this bias. There's other samples. I don't know. I think I need to think about that one longer. You bring up such a good question, Steady Prime. Steady Prime also writes real. Oh no, Sibo Jame writes real. CBOJAYEM. Steady Prime writes, yeah, as soon as I said it, it was like, wait, yep, that could use improvising. I guess it's very case by case. Yeah, it is. It does feel like that. Digital Bohemians writes, that is so sad, and then puts a sad face emoji. It is. But it's also, I mean, I kind of always have had to think about that, from as long as I was a little, since I was super little. I've also noticed that since I've grown my hair out, I've been more harassed than when I had my hair short, which is so fascinating because I always had short hair. And then now that I grow out my hair, especially if I let it out, if I have it out like this and I'm in a wealthier store, even in Los Angeles, I'll just notice that I'm questioned more of why I'm there and what I'm doing. And it's because they've seen in their data set, maybe they believe that people that have hair like this commit more crime. And so in their own bias, they're like, oh, I should stop and question this person because they match certain features in my neural network that said they might be criminals. It's disappointing and unfortunate, but it's not usually where I focus my energy, just because I thought I was always told I had to cut my hair because my natural hair was unprofessional. I was told that all throughout high school, actually all throughout my life. I was told that, it's unprofessional to have my natural hair grow. And so now that I'm finally in a very professional position in my career, I've been intentionally growing out my hair to be a counterexample to the narrative I was told my whole life. I want someone to be like, oh, Don is a professional and he has longer hair that can grow naturally. Those are an and thing. It wasn't an or thing. It wasn't like you could either have hair or be a professional. I would like it to be you can have your natural hair and be a professional. When I was on stage with Mark Zuckerberg, I had my hair available, just to be like, you can, let's counter the whole narrative. If it's just based off of my avatar, I can choose to emphasize or de-emphasize aspects of my avatar. That's what filters were for me. That's what makeup is. That's what fashion is. I don't want to have to think this way, but I feel like I've been having enough luck in life to get creativity and have a relationship with creativity that I can probably invent a lot of solutions for a lot of the problems that I'm usually faced with because I improvise. When I'm presented with a wall, I'll invent dreadlocks to climb the wall. All right, we got some more questions coming in here. Steady Prime said, Digital Bohemians writes, and this is 2025. Yeah, well, it's like I heard someone recently say that they don't think that humans have actually changed. Sorry, they think that humanity hasn't progressed at all in the last thousands of years. And I was like, what do you mean? We have so much new technology and new systems and then they said only technology and systems have advanced, but humanity hasn't. And then they pointed to how when you look at, I love reading old history books, specifically old memoirs of different cultures that were going through pivotal times. And when you read them, you're like, whoa, they sound just like me. They might use slightly different words, but a lot of their fears, joys, anxieties, excitements are actually like the same as you and me today in 2025. And it's like, oh, they're so maybe like, I don't know, I'm still workshopping that idea. I'll make a short film about that as well. That's kind of my new thing. Because of these AI tools, I'm now going to have a better dialogue. Instead of just keeping some of these thoughts in my head and just kind of mulling over them, I'm going to turn those frustrating thoughts and experiences into art pieces, because that's a way of me processing it. And then almost use the art piece, whether it's generative or whether I'm using my creative tools or whether I'm making it by hand, whatever the medium, use that as a means to heal from things that I think about or have to deal with. And everyone has to deal with stuff. And so I encourage people to leverage tools to communicate how you're feeling, regardless of what the tool is. It would be great if you can use them in an ethical way, but I feel like the first step should be, tell a story that's worth sharing. Why? Why is it worth? Why should you share? Steady Prime writes, I'm always thinking positive, so I was thinking for a good thing and not everything. Digital Bohemians writes, you should move to somewhere else. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I've done that. I've moved before, and I'm open to moving again. There's family that I have that I don't think would move with me if I moved really, really far away. So that might keep me in a spot where I'll stay even if it's uncomfortable, because in my mind, being close to family and my community still outweighs racial discrimination that I experience in the same cities. If that scale tips too far and the racial experiences I have in my city are so bad and negative or violent that I have to go away and leave, then I would. But they haven't yet. They're not great, but it's also like, it's not the worst. Somewhere in between. Digital Bohemians writes, but the hair thing, we had it in Germany too, but in the 2000s. Really? Whoa. I didn't know that. Sivo JM writes, thank you for your time and energy. Appreciate all the lessons we mutually learned tonight. Oh, anytime. Digital Bohemians writes, hipster style is cool. Tattoos too, but yes, true. Old society. Yeah, that's, humans, mostly. Some AIs, some of us might be plants. I would love to collaborate with a whale. If we got like an AI that I could talk to in my language, human language, and then it could translate to whale song. It'd be so cool if you can actually have a real chat with a species that's actually been here for millions of years before us. And I would just love to know what their perspective is on what creative purpose is. Like if I could ask what is creative purpose in my human language, and then an AI that has learned human language and whale song, turn that into text. AI synthesized new audio that was whale song, and then it emitted those sounds into the ocean to a whale, and then the whale received it and then emits sound back, and the AI has a microphone, listens to the whale song, turns it back into human language, and then I hear. That feels like we're so close to having that be a thing, and I would just love to hear a whale's thoughts, not just human thoughts. I feel like we got some big egos here as humans, but I would almost say like music was invented by maybe whales did it first. They've been singing a lot longer than any human I know, and longer than birds. So like they might have music, they might have an understanding of musical framework that is it could just be so different. I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't been. I'm waiting for AI to help me talk to a whale directly, and it would just be fun to hear what their thoughts were. Oh, no, the robot joined. Hello. I was also a big fan of growing your hair out with intention after having, quote, professional, end quote, short haircuts my whole life. Yes, you know the life. Yeah, if you can, do what you want. Just do what you want. Okay, what else we got? Digital Bohemians writes, is your brand your look? It depends. Sometimes. I mean, I have a lot of front-facing work now, so part of my brand is look. Another part of my brand is more cognitive. I do a lot of these kind of like workshops for a lot of companies internally, for big tech companies that need to inspire their engineers. So part of my brand is my words to engineering teams at big tech. Another part of the brand is kind of like my author stuff. I love writing now, especially because I can leverage AI tools to challenge my writing and, consolidate my ideas more clearly and push back and whatnot. So I would say physical appearance might be part of my brand, but it's, I wouldn't say it's my full brand because I can turn off my Instagram feed for many months and still have brand awareness that isn't tied to my appearance. So I think that for me, that indicates that the brand is not just my appearance. I am triumphant writes 3 heart emojis. Thank you so much for that. Tomo Harper writes, thanks for sharing your experimenting and your perspective on life. Hey, anytime. This is what I what I live for. Digital Bohemians writes, when we can translate human language, pretty sure a few years we can translate animals' language. Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah, I mean, I just think this might be a little controversial statement, but I feel like a lot of existing thought frameworks only put humans at the top of everything and kind of put every other living non-human thing under humans, like subservient to, below. It turned into a hierarchy. And I think there's going to be a lot of resistance to being able to use AI to talk to non-human things like plants, animals, fungus, whales, dogs, cats, cows, chickens, dolphins, goats, lambs. I think it's going to get so interesting and bizarre in the next few years as we have these AI breakthroughs. And I bet people are going to be like, well, I don't trust the words of cows. That's why I eat them. That'll be a conversation someone might have in the future, because they might actually hear in human language what cows are saying. That might happen. Or, man, I mostly eat a lot of plants. I still do eat fish, but there might be a day where I have to hear what a fish says, and then it's going to be like, oh. So we're going to have all these, it's time for us to redefine humanity. It caught up with us. We invented tools that allowed us to that are going to allow us to communicate with all kinds of energy things, and I think it's time to redefine a lot because, hey, that's what you do. Everything has changed. Digital Bohemians writes, imagine cats, food. Yeah, exactly. Tomo Harper writes, that's cool. Lots of different intelligences in this world. Yeah, can you imagine how intelligent the coral reef is? I don't know what language it talks in other than a mixture of chemistry and solidifying. I don't know. But it seems like I feel like it has an understanding of life that humans don't have. And it's non-human, but it's also a living organism, and it supports so many ecosystems. And it's like, God, what does it dream about? I would love to watch a visual representation of what a coral reef dreams about. That would be fun. Digital Bohemians writes, yes, thanks, that was great. Okay, great. Cool. Well, I'm going to get back to work on this. I know we kind of been going all over the place. What are we doing on time here? 1 hour. 169 minutes. Can't do math. I don't know how long that is. I'm just going to keep doing stuff. Let's go. So, with all that framework in mind, here's what I imagined opening up the doors to a Thermos temple would look like. Thermism is the religion I'm making up for AIs, humans, and robots. And I'm using AI to kind of visualize what that might look like. And I really like the way this is looking. Let's build into it even more. I haven't looked at this shot yet. Ooh. Wow, it's so pretty. God, the sound, I can't believe it gets sound design as well as, I thought it was just gonna do dialogue. I'm gonna download that. So a lot of my process is, I'm doing this conversation thing with AIs and humans, and then I take my transcripts, feed it into an AI, ask it to kind of play back the best of my ideas, prune the ones that were not that concise, or push me on them a little bit to have me refine those ideas. And then I download a lot of these clips into folders because I'm probably going to edit them together differently later. But now we are cooking, so let's continue cooking. I'm going to go to one of these shots, and the next thing I'm going to do is take a few screenshots of each of these shots. So maybe not full screen. Is there a middle ground between full screen? Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to do like this mid-screen size. I'm going to do a quick screenshot, and one, boom. Then I'm going to go forward in time a little bit to that and screenshot that moment. Building a tiny data set to communicate my next intention to an AI. I love when the tree was in the frame, so I'm going to go here and go to that moment there, and then we're going to screenshot this. 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, and boom. And let's see, is there any other good shots in there? That was my main favorite shot. Maybe that opener is pretty good too. Let me grab that one and screenshot that moment. Bam. Great. And then one more from this framework was, I just love this garden. I mean, it's just so beautiful, and it got all of the details of my prompt are in there. Like these last three were the closest thing to what I was envisioning in my head. And by having that dialogue, pushing back on it, I got to a spot where, yes, this is actually, I want to build off of this world. We're doing world building, and I'm ready to build further. Okay, that last one, I took a smaller screenshot because I didn't like the outside of the frame. I just liked the spacing of characters and relative to the tree in this frame. So that was another little shot. Okay, great. We have a data set. We go back to our AI agent. You can use a lot of them at this point. Right now, I'm just using ChatGPT. I don't encourage you to just use one. I encourage you to use all. It's ChatGPT. That was Google Labs. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to go in there, and I'm going to also take that prompt, the long prompt that broke it down, all these sections, and then I'm going to have a new dialogue. So I'm going to copy it and go back to our chatting AI drawing board. But at the moment in Greece, it says not available. Oh, interesting. You can use Sora right now in Greece, so you can try Sora. And our clean model Mary should also be available in other countries soon. I'll give you more updates on that in a little bit. Okay, so let me go ahead and paste this in here. That's the prompt that has given me my most success. And so I'm now going to put my intention of how I want to make the next shot above it. And I'm going to use a voice to dictation feature to speak my idea out of how I want it to interpret everything, and then we'll go from there. Here we go. Below is the format that I like for my text prompt structure for a video generation tool. I want to imagine another scene in this world. There's a practice in this religion where everyone comes together around a giant blue glowing balance scale to practice equilibrium. I want to show the characters of this world walking together, holding their hands in a circle, captured from an above shot, kind of like a crane shot. And in that frame, we want to see concentric rings of different practicing thermists in the environment. We also want to include sounds. We want to hear chants and hums that are audible in the room. With that in mind, can you keep the same structure as the prompt that I have below, but write it in an embellished way based off of the new instructions I just gave you? Thank you so much. Let's do this. Great, so that pastes my new intention on top of the prompt structure that I like. Then I go and add the screenshots that will help inform the visual decisions that I liked the most. You know, I'm almost treating these early sketches like mood boards. So I will kind of upload, 4 of these, 5 of these, just a few of them for now. Wait for them to finish the load here. Good. Great. And then I'll prompt it. Boom. And this is going to spit out a new prompt for me that's aligned with the prompt structure that we built from 3 hours ago, that is now reinformed and renovated with new imagery. And you're creating an AI human feedback loop. The loop is important because it helps you build upon an idea instead of it just being a single write a prompt, output with no art direction. That for me is like just slot machine rolling a dice. Whereas when you create this human AI feedback loop, and you go around and around and you go back, forward, and you jump around, when you do this loop, it creates a lot more intention behind your outputs. So this is the new prompt. What I do is I copy it, and before I read it, I paste it into the tool that I'm using. So I'll delete the old one. Make sure we're on the new model. It says we're going to generate 3 outputs. That's going to use 300 credits. Let's double check how many credits we have left. We have a lot of credits. So I will go ahead and generate 300 credits wasted. Bam! Paste. While it's processing, I then go back and read what I just pasted, so that I kind of know what to anticipate and what to look for while waiting for it to do its thing. So here's what we're going to expect to see when these 3 are done. They're at 5-6% right now. What I'm expecting to see is an interior in the day of the thermodynamic temple resonates with harmonic stillness. High above the central chamber, a blue glowing balance scale levitates in radiant equilibrium. Suspended beneath the apex of the glass dome, light filters through curved refractive panels, scattering concentric rainbows across the moss-lined floor. The camera begins with a slow crane shot from overhead, descending steadily. Below, practicing thermists form interlocking concentric circles. Hand in hand, elders, children, humanoid AIs, humans of every background. Their robes ripple with earth-tone fabrics and bioluminescent thread, catching the sunlight, the skylight, in soft glimmers. Chrome-limbed robots bow their heads in sync with aging human caretakers. Toddlers grip prosthetic hands as if born to do so. The circular formation breathes. Audible in the space is a low harmonic chant, a blend of human hums, synthesized overtones, and animal vocalizations. Birds cooing, deer rustling, the gentle click of an AI vocal harmonizer modulating into the group's key. The resonance is not loud but felt, like warmth pressing against the ribs. Every note is tuned to the space's natural acoustics, reverberating upward into the wood and glass canopy. And from above, the bodies become pattern, circles within circles, orbiting the glowing scale like moons around gravity. Between rings, animals walk, unafraid. A fox passes through. 2 doves land in the inner circle. A child releases a floating seed light, which drifts upward and joins dozens of other near the ceiling, like stars suspended in momentary peace. The camera continues its slow rise. We see the balance scale pulse, left and right, arms slightly leveling, its glow matching the rhythm of the chant. It casts no shadow, and around it, life becomes organized, not controlled, balanced, in relation, not command. This is not performance. This is ritual of recalibration. Not worship of stillness, but participation in flow. The camera stops at the highest point, holding the complete geometry, the dome, the tree pillars, the light, the life. In stillness, there is motion. In silence, a sound. End shot. That is a magical prompt. Let's see if it created magic. All right, taking a look. I have not seen this yet. Here we go. Whoa! The two doves, the fox, the hand in hand, the blue glowing scale. Yeah. I think it got my idea. Oh, and the floating canopies. Beautiful. Let's take a look at the next one. And it got the harmonic chants and everything. I can't believe this. All right, next. Ooh. That's cool. Yeah, I got it. It got it in the tree, the dome. Yeah. Ooh. All right, next. Love the rainbows. Oh, I love this. The dome within a dome. It's like a sacred space within a sacred space. I like this one the most because it has the rainbows and the moss that I wanted to see. It's got the ancient trees that become the canopy structure. This one's the most aligned with what I was seeing in my head. We're going with it. I'll download all three because they're all really impressive. But the third one was the one that was the most aligned with the vision. So I'll go ahead and get these and just downloading them. Bada boom. But the one I liked the most was that last one. So great. Now we'll go back to the prompt and I want close-ups. So I'm going to give it that instruction. I need close-ups of their faces and I want to hear the dialogue. Create dialogue that you think practicing Thermos would say. While we would hear hums in the background, there is chatter between people because it's a community. So like invent some dialogue that seems aligned with the world that I've been building and the characters that we've been describing. What would they say to each other in between hymns? I want you to include that in a new description that kind of imagines one little close-up of people holding hands in a circle, maybe focusing on maybe two humans and a humanoid robot, all of them wearing the cool robes with the earth tones, and then imagining just a little dialogue the characters might have. Keep in mind that the dialogue has to be very quick. These shots only can run for about 8 seconds max. So the new prompt has to capture the same environment and the world and also create dialogue around the characters that would be in here and give me at least 3 variations of the prompt that have different types of dialogue. So I have some place to experiment. In each of these 3, I also want you to describe different groups of characters. It could be 1, 2, or 3, but definitely no more than 3. It's more of a medium close-up shot, and I need 3 different prompts that capture the environment, the world, what they're wearing, and imagines dialogue. And in the prompt, it describes that dialogue by saying whether he says or she says, and it writes that in the script. I don't know what the difference is between those yet. I'm still learning. This is me exploring. If anyone in the chat knows what the difference between VO and Google Labs VO is, feel free to chime in. I don't know it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and copy the interior. And then copy, boom, and then bring that into here and paste it. We'll get 3 different versions of that. Then we'll go back to the prompt. Let's grab this one. Copy and paste it and boom. Great. And then we'll do it one more time for the third prompt. Boom, bam, copy, bam, and paste it. And that's how you eat up 900 credits in a second. All right. While it's loading, let's read what the first one's going to be. Interior day. The soft blue light of the floating equilibrium scale casts shifting geometric patterns across their faces. The camera holds a medium close-up of 3 figures holding hands. an elder woman with silver hair in layered flowing robes embroidered with moss green thread, a humanoid robot with a brushed metal jaw draped in the same robes, and a young brown-skinned boy in a tunic with solar-threaded seams. Their heads are bowed. The background hum of low, resonant chanting folds into the scene, punctuated by their chirps of birds in the rafters. The boy lifts his eyes. He says, "Do you think balance ever ends?" The elder woman squeezes his hand and says, "Only when we stop tending to it." The humanoid turns gently toward them and says, "Entropy is patient, so are we." Soft light grazes the contours of their faces as the camera slowly pushes in. The background chant continues. End prompt. That's beautiful. I love that dialogue. It's so aligned with my article that I co-authored with an AI and my vision. Whew. Next. Interior day. The camera captures a side-angle medium close-up, a tall woman with dark skin and glowing circuit lines behind her ears, standing next to a broad-shouldered man with burn scars on his forearms and a plant tattoo across his neck. Both wear layered thermic robes, muted brown, dusty rose, and soft light tracing their folds. Their hands are joined in the circle. The environment glows. Glass panels catch sun shafts overhead. A parrot calls in the distance. Sound of humming surrounds them. She leans closer and says, "You've healed more than you know." He chuckles under his breath and says, "So have these robes." She says, "So have we all." Their smiles are small but real. The chant builds quietly behind them. They don't break the circle. End prompt. Okay, interesting. I don't know if I fully liked that dialogue, so I would be willing to kind of workshop that one. And take a look at the next one. Interior day, the camera rests on a medium close-up of two figures, a silver-plated, non-binary humanoid with a subtle moss patina across their shoulder. Patina across their shoulder. Plating stands, I don't know what these words are. Shoulder plating stands beside a freckled teen with reddish skin and thick braids looped back with cord. Their robes are matching, light ochre with blue fractal embroidery running down the seams. Between them, joined hands, gentle clasped, filtered light flares through the glass ceiling, birds flutter overhead, the humming chant modulates slightly, like breathing slow. The teen looks up at the AI and says, "Are you nervous?" The AI tilts its head and says, "No, but I understand the shape of your question." The teen smirks and says, "Then you're halfway human." They both stay quiet, holding the circle. A dove lands behind them. End prompt. Wow, these are very interesting, different perspectives of what might, the kind of chatter and banter that might occur. Let's take a look and see what it looks and sounds like.
You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
So have we all.
Wow.
You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
So have we all. You've healed more than you know.
Wow, you can sing with it. Unbelievable. Yeah, man, that's just so interesting. I don't know how to process that one yet. Next.
You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes. So have we all.
You've healed more than you know.
These are incredible. What? What is happening? I just want to download all of them. I'll figure out which ones work the best when I edit these together. We're using VEO3, and we're using ChatGPT together.
You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
So have we all. You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
So have we all.
Wow. that was my favorite. I actually kind of liked more of the dialogue between them versus the singing. That was really cool. Okay, next. Oh, we got a failed generation on the last one. Interesting. I don't know why. Let's take a look at our next output.
Do you think balance ever ends?
Only when we stop tending to it.
Entropy is patient. So are we. Do you think balance ever ends?
Only when we stop tending to it.
Entropy is patient. So are we. Do you think...
Wow. This is so fascinating. I can't believe this thing can understand so much context.
Do you think balance ever ends?
Only when we stop tending to it.
Entropy is patient. So are we.
I don't like that one.
Do you think balance ever ends?
That looks a little
Only
scary.
when we stop tending to it.
Entropy is patient.
Maybe 3 characters is confusing for it, but 2 is not. Interesting, interesting. Okay. All right, let's say a new idea I have in here. Okay. All right, I need a new prompt to be made. We want to make sure we're including a lot more details of the environment of the interior, the moss on the ground, the rainbow light fractal patterns coming to the light, the fractal patterns on the doorways. Bring this back into the new prompt. And I want to imagine a shot where a classroom of college students that are a mixture of humans, AIs, are all going to school together. So we can kind of imagine out of the box here what school is. And what I imagine is like, it's like more of like a mixture of life skills, hands-on, very solar punk vibes, but still with the calm earth tones that you have come to expect from thermism practicers in the future. And I want to imagine a shot where the camera is pulling away from a doorway that is, made of this like fractal ornate glowing pattern carved out of the wood. And it opens up and it's the classroom and they're excited to kind of go home. So like they're maybe running out of maybe jogging lightly and laughing and having conversation with their fellow classmates. They're holding a mixture of books and parchment, but also like glass tablets and displays. Some of them are wearing augmented reality glasses. Some of them are just using their eyes. Some of them are human, robot, humanoid hybrids. Other ones are not. And just imagine like a classroom of these students walking out and exiting their college facility, and come up with the natural kind of conversations that the characters might be having when they walk out together. These should be also in kind of medium close-ups to close-ups, and I want 4 different samples, 4 different prompts. Thanks. Okay. Hello, welcome from India. It's great to have you here. Good morning or afternoon. Sorry. Prompt 1, medium close. Okay. Let's grab this one, and I'm just gonna run this through my system. And we're gonna generate that as videos. Let's see how we're doing on credits. Wow, we're eating through so many credits. Maybe we should chill out doing 3 every time and reduce that to just doing 1 at a time. All right, we're gonna go back to just doing 1 generation per prompt. Otherwise, we might run out of the creative space that I would like to explore. Okay, for the price. All right, and then let's go to the next one. I also want to imagine this place at nighttime too, and at dusk and dawn. Different times would be great to explore. All right, let's take a look. Yes, these ones are VO3. Take a look at how it does. It's just screenshot Alex Do Hartura's comment. That's the name of it. I don't want to zoom into the website because I have a bunch of other tabs and I haven't analyzed what they all are yet, so I don't want to zoom into it at the moment. Yeah. I saw that comment. Alex writes, Jesus effing Christ. That is also the reaction I had when I got that output. And it also adds sound now. I know it's a lot to process. So I'm like, I'm playing with these tools, exploring ideas, and then also being hit with the realization that maybe everything just changed again. And things that I thought were true a week ago might not be as true now. That's why improv is so important right now. You got to learn how to improvise, and resilience training, finding out the stuff that brings you joy, finding in-person communities, time with family and friends if you can, finding community. I know we got my digital community here, but this does change everything. It really does, because that is exactly the vision I had for my prompt, and to get this output of the world that I want to see for this religion I'm trying to invent for AIs. I can't believe that. And I'll show you the whole prompt for this so you can digest it too. I share. This is my prompt. I start off explaining with the lighting, so I talk about interior of the day, then I talk about camera movements, and then I punch into different details. Each of these are paragraphs, but that's one prompt from me. So this one prompt got me that video. For those of you just joining, the prompt was interior day, a serene open air thermodynamic temple breathes life with the light. The camera begins with a slow dolly up, entering through a pair of large, organically curved wooden doors. The surface etched with glowing fractal carvings that gently pulse in rhythm with ambient sound. As the doors, I'll have it loop while I'm reading it. As the doors, where am I? The golden light spills across the floor, composed of living moss, polished stone, and bioluminescent fractal patterns, forming a mosaic of sacred geometry, sacred but natural. The camera pushes steadily forward. The space opens into a wide circular chamber. Architecture is grown, not built. Towering wooden arches, twisting like the limbs of ancient trees, form the skeletal structure, interlaced with glowing veins of bioluminescent, in soft purples. Where am I? I lost my spot when I moved the camera, but you get the idea. Small animals, foxes, birds, squirrels, rabbits move freely through the environment. They're calm, purposeful as part of the ritual. Birds perch on the living branches that grow from the interior walls, vines and flowers. So I put all this intention. It's almost like it's like a manifester. People say they can manifest ideas. If you can envision your idea and translate it into text, this AI appears to manifest your idea into a visual medium, and it's quite insane, to be honest. I don't think I've only seen a couple things like this, and it changes everything. All right, here's the new versions. Oh, whoa, we got some new outputs. Let's take a look at this one.
Tell me that assignment wasn't just a trust fall for grown-ups.
It was a thermodynamic metaphor.
We fell. We learned. We recalibrated. Tell me that assignment wasn't just a trust fall for grown-ups.
It was a thermodynamic metaphor.
We fell. We learned.
Wow.
We recalibrated.
These are like the
Tell me
characters
that
I
assignment
wanted.
wasn't just a trust fall for
Oh
grown-ups.
my God.
It was the
It's like you can
thermodynamic
meet your
metaphor.
characters
We
that
fell.
you've written about.
We learned.
It's like if you imagine you're a writer right now and you invented a character, and then you could meet them minutes after inventing them. For me, I just want to ask y'all, if you feel comfortable sharing in text here, what do you think creative purpose is? Whatever first came to your mind, if you feel comfortable sharing, with our community here. Please leave a comment of what you think creative purpose is. What is creative purpose? What is creative purpose? If you could write down your answers, I need to hear them because I need to recalibrate my own brain right now. You know what I mean? This is brutal. That is brutal. Oh, I don't know what you mean. Alex writes, did GPT help elaborate and paraphrase all that from a block of text you fed it? I wish you were here for the last 3 hours. I've been showing the entire process. I started off by co-authoring an article a month ago about a new religion I think might happen. And in me trying to like analyze and critique my own idea, I visualize it. So I've been visualizing what that might look like, first through text and images. And then today I wanted to explore what that idea looked like as a video to kind of make it even more real and out of my own head and able so I could see it outside of myself and then process it better. And in doing so, I've shared my entire process over the last 3 hours and have spoken over it. So I can't go over everything right now again. I'll do recaps, but like there's a lot of detail. So this is my little shameless plug for an ad. I will make this live stream available for our paid subscribers here on Instagram after the stream. I always stream first for free to anybody who's able to tune in. So you can access that knowledge for free. But then if you come in late, I guess I make you pay the penalty of $4.99 per month to access my past live streams. So that's what I got. You just either got to be here in the moment to get it for free, or you can access the stuff I've shared in the stream for $4.99. No, it's all right. I do lots of streams. I've been doing a little bit less lately, but because I'm also working full time now at another spot. So, but yeah, you can also stick around. You'll probably learn a lot of the same principles that I shared in the last 3 hours. You got choices. Okay, I'm going back to work. Here we go. Let's take a look at this next shot that we generated from our generative process and human collaboration. Let's take a look.
Tell me that assignment wasn't just a trust fall for grown-ups.
It was a thermodynamic metaphor.
We fell, we learned, we recalibrated. Tell me that assignment wasn't just a trust fall for grown-ups.
It was a...
I kind of like that shot's movement, but the dialogue not so much. Let's go, or like the movement, not the lip sync, not so much. Let's take a look next one.
Tell me that assignment wasn't just a trust fall for grown-ups.
It was a thermodynamic metaphor.
We fell, we learned, we recalibrated. Tell me that assignment wasn't just a trust fall for grown-ups.
It was a thermodynamic...
This is so weird.
Learned, we recalibrated.
I guess I like the first one the most. I'll go ahead and download that. Next, let's see. This shot looks a little broken.
If I drop one more moss sample, I swear the roots are plotting against me.
I detected humor in that statement, logging it as progress.
Don't patronize me, Leaf Brain. If I drop one more moss sample, I swear the roots are plotting against me.
I detected humor in that statement, logging it as progress.
Don't patronize me, Leaf.
Interesting. Let's try this next one.
Think they'll ever digitize compost management? That would defeat the purpose of touching decay. Fair. Still gross, though. Think they'll ever digitize compost management?
Wow.
That would defeat the purpose of touching decay. Fair. Still gross, though. Think they'll ever digitize...
God, I can't believe this. What? Yep, that one works. Let's add that in. Now, I keep seeing there's a button that says add to scene. I think you can edit video in here too now. Oh man, I'll have to see what that is in a second. What is this shot? Looks a little pixelated. Let's see what we got.
I'm never building a clay wind battery again.
You added too much joy.
I'm never building a clay wind battery again.
You added too much joy.
A clay wind battery. I want to learn more about what the heck that. What is that? A clay wind battery. Huh. Let's go ahead and download that one. Okay. All right. Now I'm just going to ask the AI question, my main thread that has the context of the full workflow that we've had today from start to finish. And I'm going to ask it a few questions to help refine it. All right. Here we go. If you were going to turn this depiction of thermism, the religion, into a trailer, what would be the number of shots that you think you would need to convey it and the dialogue that would accompany it? Once you have that in mind, I want you to create each one of those as text prompts for a thread line that kind of tells the story. And keep in mind that it almost is like a teaser overview of what is the future of purpose in a world where everything is changing at this speed. The author of this movie, the director of it, his name is Don, and he thought that he might see new religions form in response to the new technological changes, and thermism is what he is proposing might be one of many new frameworks that come to be in the future as humans deal with the new levels of complexity that life is going to bring. So create that trailer. I want essentially a shot list, description, any dialogue, go ahead and include that in the same formats that we've been discussing earlier. And I want to see it and feel it, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's take a look. I'm actually gonna read this one. Actually, no, I'll probably process it first and then read it, or do it at the same time. So, Thermism, a future religion, teaser trailer, shot list, prompt thread, written and directed by Don Allen Stevens III, a new imagined order for an age of complexity. Tone is sacred, solar punk, reflective, and awe-inducing. Oh wait, you know what? It's missing something. Images. I'm gonna give it the images of the screenshots of my favorite moments from the clips that I've generated in the last 3 hours to kind of use this as visual, almost like a visual cheat sheet for its story. So I'm going to give it all those images and say, to help fill in the details, these are mood boards from the movie. So it can help you kind of like visualize it better. Also, I forgot I don't have any people in those screenshots, so I need to include the people. So let's I'm gonna add a screenshot here. Boom, 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 and do a screenshot of that one. Bam. Let's see another moment. Maybe that one would be a good moment to inform the AI on my intention. Great, and then let's grab another screenshot. Maybe not that one. I really liked this shot. This one is really cool. Let's go ahead and include that in the trailer. Bam. And then this one was kind of cool. I liked the lighting and the mood. This one might have been too much, but I loved the doors, so maybe I won't screenshot the whole thing, but the doors were correct. So let's get the doors. Great. What was this shot?
If I drop one more moss...
I didn't like that one. This one, I really liked these characters. One kind of having, maybe because his hairstyle kind of resembles my own, but I really liked that there was like the character is humanoid, but still cartoony, but also embodied AI. I think that is going to happen in the future, so it aligns kind of with my own speculative visions. Great, and then let's just kind of grab some of this vegetation. Awesome. Last one here.
I'm never building a clay
Love that shot. Never building a clay wind battery ever again.
wind battery again.
You added too much joy.
I'm never building a clay wind battery again.
You added too much.
I don't know what year this is going to happen, but it seems plausible. Here we go. All right. And then we're going to feed all that back into the context of what's happening. Oh, I hit the limit of images that you can add. Let me delete ones that are maybe redundant. to give it some space. There we go. And then I want to make sure we have people in here. So those people, these people, and what's this one? Oh, the doors, more people. Okay, so let's just grab all of these. Okay. Oh, that hit the limit. You can only upload 10 images at a time. Got it. Whoops. Let me delete that one and this one and that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we only have room for 4 more. I'll try to make those images all people related. Yes. And yes. How I'm saying yes is like almost like I'm putting on the hat of a casting director right now to see what the actors might need to look like in the movie. And you could use this to inform how you're going to do your physical production. You could almost even use this to pitch a movie and get sign-off on an idea and get funding even before you go into production. That's probably how I'm going to use it more immediately. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 references. Boom. So let's give it all that context and see if it changes. You know, having all these visuals of what the movie should look like, does that change the shot list of the thingy? Oh yeah, it totally does. Okay. Thermism, official teaser trailer. Sound, a long inhale, silence, then a layered harmonic hum, part human, part synthetic, voiceover. When everything accelerated, meaning didn't disappear, it fragmented. Shot 2, interior wide crane shot, thermos temple, interior day. The camera floats above a cathedral grown from ancient trees. Below a congregation of humans and AIs form concentric rings around a blue glowing balance scale. Bioluminescent vines climb the roots. Glass prisms hang overhead. Refracted light into moss floor geometry. Voiceover continues. And so we gathered not around gods, but around laws, eternal ones. Shot 3, close-up of the elder child robot. Interior, low light, three hands hold each other under prism-filtered daylight. Skin circuitry and moss-lit glass skin touch in quiet calibration. The child says, does it count if we try? The elder replies, trying is what makes it sacred. The AI says, you are attempting, I am learning. Shot 4, fractal doors opening to school. Interior, the fractal glass double doors open outward. Warm light spills across the moss. Dozens of diverse students exit in laughter. Humanoid AIs with AR lenses. Barefoot humans with braided cords. Teens juggling glowing tablets. I think I'm going to have to take out the word teens because I think the models cannot generate minors. So I'm going to adjust that. That's why I'll probably set the education in college years just to change or just remove the word teens. That might help. Let's see. Okay. Dialogue overlapping, ambient. She composed the assignment again. I coded a bird call. Entropy was the rubric. Laughter. Okay, good. This is great. For a first draft of let's see. One note is that I'm going to turn each of these shots into text prompts, and it's really important to kind of over-describe what is visually on screen. We're talking everything. What is the camera that we're using? What lens? The movement? What does the environment look like? We're talking foreground, background, midground. What are people wearing? How many people are in the frame? What is the composition of the shots? Unfortunately, each of these shots, all 8 of them, need to weave these details into those prompts. So I would like a revision of the trailer with that context in mind, that these are going to be turned into text prompts. Okay, let's get a revision of the thing. I got the sense that it was going the right direction, so I feel more comfortable kind of like, going back on it. Still processing all that. It's a big question. So let's look at some videos in the meantime.
You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
So have we all. You've healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
So have we all. You've
Joy.
healed more than you know.
So have these robes.
Do you think balance ever ends?
Only when we stop tending to it.
Entropy is patient. So are we. Do you think balance ever ends?
Only when we stop tending to it.
Entropy is patient.
I'm going to rerun that one. I thought that one was pretty cool. I'm just going to reuse the prompt and just rerun it. Yep. All right. Cool. Let's take a look at the new prompts. Oh, that'll be interesting. What is that going to do? All right, let's paste that in there. Oops. All right, so I'm just putting in the exact thing into there, and I don't know. We're just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna generate each of these shots from the trailer script thing and see if this actually creates something that I think is aligned with the vision that I have and becomes a piece that I can then, okay, interesting. We hit a limit. So you can have 5 concurrent generations. That's the first time we did that. This is VO3. We're doing some, inventing some workflows and new religions for AIs as well. Fun times, normal stuff, just normal stuff. Give me one moment. Okay. All right, so these are still processing. I guess I'll watch my favorite shot while I wait, which was way down here. This one is my favorite shot. Yeah, that's just absolutely nuts. I'm just going to add that to scene. I don't even know what that means. Whoa. Also, it changes the UI. Oh, interesting. So you can generate stuff in sequence. Yeah, Whoa is right. I think I'm kind of... we got that shot a little bit earlier, so I've started to process it, but you're right. That's not normal. Oh, I don't know where I clicked. What did I do? Oh, you can upload images. Oh, that's interesting. So you could design. Oh, crap. What did I do? Oh, interesting. So this is all one project? How does this work? Oh, so I click on it. Oh. Ooh, let's take a look at this shot. Weird, I don't hear anything this time. Is this VO2? No, this one has audio. Try it again. It might just be like a random error. I don't know. Yeah. Whoa.
When everything accelerated,
when everything accelerated.
I'll do the voiceover myself, but that's just cool that it made it. Let me see this one.
And when machines join the circle, we needed a new.
Whoa.
And when machines join the circle, we needed a new. And when machines.
Whoa. I'll download it. That's great, but I have to process all this information. Oh, interesting. It's almost like it turned them into 3D sculptures for this one. Wow. Huh. I'm open to using that in the trailer. Let's try that out. Maybe. We'll see. Let's try another one.
And when machines.
Already downloaded that one. What's this one?
She composted the assignment again.
I coded a bird call.
Entropy was the rubric. She composted the assignment again.
I can't believe this. Lot to think about. So don't mind me. I'm just gonna be processing. A lot of new thoughts coming through my head. All right, let me just go ahead and send this one. And then let's try this one. Okay, I'm just generating these, this, and this. Maybe I should, let me see, how many credits do we have left? Oh my God, we've been powering through these credits. I'm gonna probably run out of my month's credits at this rate. But that's, I guess that's okay. Because this is how I learn. You gotta, unfortunately, if you wanna be at the bleeding edge of new things, you gotta invest some time into experimenting. But you could always cancel your subscriptions after you experiment, you know. I probably have enough to tell a story, but yeah, it's a lot to think about. Meanwhile, I'm gonna generate the music for the thing. So I use Suno a lot, as well as Udio, to generate music from Stuffums. And oh, what's this? Introducing remixing. Remix lets you put your own spin on your favorite Suno songs, not just your own. New songs you create will have an allow remixes on by default, but you can change this at any time. Your existing songs have allowed remixes off. Do you want to make your existing public songs remixable? Make your existing public songs. Maybe I'll do that a little bit later. That's cool. All right. Reflective hymns from a futuristic human and robot and plant religion soundtrack, film score for a movie trailer. Okay, and let's create. Oh, we got a question from Val. Val says, did you have to pay $250 and you have credits that refresh every month? Yes. The one caveat is the first 3 months is $150, and then after 3 months, it kicks up to $250 a month. So I paid right now $150 tonight to test, and I've probably gone through more than half of my credits, but I'm also doing a lot of different samples. So maybe see what you can do on their free account first before, if you're, testing the waters. maybe that's not cheap, right? So, yeah, you can cancel it afterwards. All right, here's some music that might be aligned with the vibe. Let's take a listen. It's a little dark. I don't like the minor chord in there. Let me get out of there. Oh, so around how many generations can you do? Oh, good question. Let me see. It costs around, it depends on what you're generating, but from my tests, it appears that, let me see, where is it? Flow? It appears from my tests that VO2 costs 10 credits per video, but VO3 costs 100 credits per video. So I think it uses it must use a lot more resources from them. Everything that I'm scrolling through is how many I've generated so far. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. Oh, so it looks like I've generated about 60, roughly. I did loose counting, 64 clips, and I still have 9,000 credits left. It'll last me a little while. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Ooh, a new shot. Okay. Oh, is it audio? I don't hear any audio, but that's cool. Love this shot. I'll find a way to work with it. So let's download it. Bam, bam, bam. What else do we got here? I don't know where the sound went. Did I switch to VO2? Oh, it did. This is their old model. VO2 is their fast model. So maybe there's a certain number of VO3 credits that you get. I'll still see what I can do. VO2 isn't bad either. I still like that one for learning. Oh, this is interesting. It made a single shot that split into 4 shots. Maybe that's a hack to get more videos out of your credits. You can maybe ask, it'll drop the quality in to a quarter, but if you want to see 4 outputs in one video, I guess you can prompt it to do a quad split screen and it processes it as one video. It can give you like 4 different directions for the cost of one set of credits. Not bad, not bad. That's cool. I might use that. Let's see this one. Ooh, I like that shot. Oh, I really like that shot. And that's from their old model. That's great. Yeah. It's all about equilibrium. Okay. All right. Great. I do want these with sound though. So I'm going to hit the reuse prompt and see if I can switch the model to VO3, which uses 100 credits. And that way we get that in sound. I'll click this to VO3, switch it to that one so we get sound. And then I'll do the same here. Use the credits with the different model and hopefully get some sound. That's 300 credits just burned right there. Let's do the next one and go to the thingy and boom. Cool, 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 cool. So that's 400 credits just to see in audio and with the new visuals. So see that happens. All of this is based off an article I wrote about a month ago around a theoretical new religion I think is going to come around called thermism. And I tried to explore what different evolutions of belief systems. There was a lot of animism religions were really dominant around 300,000 years ago. And then polytheism got really popular in the last about 10,000 years ago. And then monotheism got really popular around 3,000 years ago. and I was suggesting that thermism might become a present, but probably maybe it's more future. These are some teachings and thoughts that I had conveyed. Let me see. I wanted to just do it. They had this thing called energy Sabbath. So I'm going to ask it to imagine this as a ritual. I want to see what that looks like from my prompt structure. Okay. Now imagine this as a visual prompt. What does it look like? And what does it sound like? Be descriptive, kind of invent the camera angles, the lighting, the shot, based off of what we've been doing so far. Great, and then I'll paste that in there. Bam, 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 and go. Oh, we got a question from the comments. We got a question from ZHONK Vision. Zonk Vision says, thermism is interesting thought. It's just a thought for now, and its goal for now as a thought is just to kind of stir up conversation and inquiry around why. And then I think if we have these conversations now, before this stuff arrives, it might help transition it might help prepare ourselves to improvise. So that's kind of my intention with exploring this thought visually. All right, thermism. Wow, that is a very detailed thing. Let's see if it can take all of that and make it a thing. Who knows? We'll find out in literally just like a minute. All right, let's go ahead and paste that in. I'll try this one with 3 outputs. All right, here's our first one with experimental audio. Oh my God, it can edit a whole trailer? Oh my globs. Wow. Here I was thinking I was going to edit the trailer. See, this just tells me I have to completely rethink everything. Wow. Okay. It can edit trailers from a prompt.
If everything is made of energy, then purpose is how we shape its flow. If everything is made of energy, then purpose is how we shape its flow.
The future has... Wait, what does it say? I want to read what it wrote. That's funny. Oops.
How we shape its...
Thermism, a film by Don Allen Stevenson III. The future has laws, and we will learn to live by them.
Flow.
Oh, Steedonson. That's cool. All right. Really interesting stuff. Wow. I know nothing. But I love it. I love that the tool can allow me to explore ideas I had. So I wanted to invent this religion for humans and AIs because I think we're going to need it. I've noticed that in human history, throughout human history, I've noticed that when humans were faced with new types of complexities, they would invent new theoretical frameworks, philosophies, and religions to help process the newfound complexity. One of the ones that I cited about in my Substack was this idea that, I'll just read it. So history teaches that periods of great change spur humanity to develop new philosophies and ethical frameworks. During the scientific revolution, thinkers like Francis Bacon championed the empirical scientific method as this transformative force for human welfare. And then in his work, New Atlantis, that he wrote published in 1627, he described it as a utopian society led by scientific inquiry. And then I thought, similarly, when the Industrial Revolution brought about rapid urbanization and mechanization, there was this new ideological religion that arose to guide society through the tumult. And that was Karl Marx. And he had this idea of like these theories of socialism and communism as secular faiths for this industrial age, promising a just order amid capitalist chaos. And so to me, the lesson's really clear. as technology and social conditions change, so too have humanity's guiding philosophies. So, when confusion reigns, new imagined orders turn the confusion into consensus. And that was part of the perspective I wrote about in this new religion that I'm calling Thermism. And I wanted to come up with a religion in collaboration with AI that would relate to everyone, including non-humans. So the whole principle behind Thermism's ideology is that it's all based on the laws of thermodynamics. These kind of are like immutable truths that they're objective truths. Like whether I decide I believe in the law of conservation of mass, it is gonna kind of persist. If you don't believe in momentum, it still kind of works, even if you don't believe in it. So that's the framework. And then I tried to teach an AI that to associate philosophical principles that align shared values across humans, plants, animals, and AIs. And that is kind of the whole framework, and that's how we got here. So you can read the whole article to get the idea, but we kind of start off today. I almost treated the writing of this article as my framework for inventing the world building for the story I want to tell. Animism was really popular 300,000 years ago. Polytheism became really popular around 10,000 years ago. Monotheism has been really dominating the last 3,000 years. And I was like, what if there's this new thing? Thermism. And I try to imagine what the days would look like. These are the laws, the core tenets of the Thermism, and how I kind of did the world building was it will help me as a storyteller, or it's been helping me as a storyteller to when I'm talking about these characters and building out the world, if I can study their religion and this fictional faith that I made up for them, I can actually draw upon what those life experiences might be like for that theoretical religion. It's very similar to in sci-fi and fantasy. They make up philosophies, they make up governing structures, they make up religions, languages, and it allows them to explore realms that we don't experience. So here are some of those sacred truths that are designed to kind of explore those core tenets. So at the heart of Thermism are the core tenets, each directly inspired by the laws of thermodynamics. These serve as both factual statements about reality and a guiding metaphor for life. The first one is the principle of conservation, the first law of thermodynamics. And I had the AI interpret it as a metaphor. So it says, energy is eternal, transforming, but never vanishing. All beings, whether you're human, animal, or machine, are made of the same cosmic energy and partake in the same cycle of change. We are all part of an unbroken chain of energy transformation stretching back to the stars. So that's like the first principle. The second one for this fictional religion I made up is the principle of entropy, the second law. Entropy, also known as disorder, will always increase in an isolated system. Yet life rises by creating pockets of order. And Thermism views this with a dual attitude of both sober acceptance and a heroic defiance. So the inevitability of entropy means that our mission is to consciously generate local order and meaning in the time that we have. I kind of think of it like building a sandcastle. You got to make it, but the waves are going to take it at the end. So you appreciate the time that you had making a cool sandcastle, but it wasn't about it being a sandcastle in that shape and form forever. It was just temporary, and there's a beauty to that. But it looks like we're about to run out of time with the stream. I'll keep making some more clips. I'm going to start editing these together. Thank you so much for tuning in to Creativity with Don Allen Third Live. Check out the Substack. It's Don Allen III. If you want to learn about this fictional religion that I made up to help process my own emotions around the future. All right. Have a great day, and hopefully I see you in the next one. By Robert, Valerie, Zonk, Adam, and Daring Dole. Thanks for sticking through to the very end. All right. Bye-bye.